got 15 of the most upvoted best of Redditor updates Reddit stories for the month of March 2025. As you guys know, this is a series on my channel where I collect the 15 best stories of the month every month, chosen by Reddit, and put them into one video for you. As usual, there will be repeat stories from previous videos in this video, but 6 out of the 15 stories are brand new, and those add up to about 53 minutes of new stories, which is pretty much a brand new video. Everything is timestamped below, so if you just want the new stories, feel free to skip around. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe before you leave. Let's lock in here and read some Reddit. Am I the a-hole for telling my partner I will act and moan like porn stars do if he gives me the same amount of money that they receive after the shooting? Originally posted to r/am-I-the-a-hole on March 9th, 2025. My partner is a porn addict. I know he is. Not just his phone, but his PC is full of porn as well, and he doesn't even hide this fact. Our sexual life is a disaster. He tries to do things to me, what he sees in porn. Doesn't matter how many times I told him it doesn't feel good or it even hurts. Sorry for the TMI, but he does this very aggressive and rapid movement on my clitoris with loads of pressure without any foreplay, and I flinch in pain every time. I explain to him how I would like it when he tells me normal women like it this way, or you are just too sensitive. Girl, drop him. The fuck? I mean, at this point, we're getting into SA territories. Like, this doesn't sound enjoyable for you, girl. Get out of there. Also, openly a porn addict? Like, huh? Why the fuck are we still with this man, chat? Foreplay is non-existent. When he actually penetrates me, I have to bend like a pretzel and pull my legs at my shoulders, which I am not able to do, which fills him with frustration, disappointment, and aggression. He told me several times I should be more flexible, like other girls. Dude, the second he starts comparing you to other girls in your sexual relationship, or honestly, any part of your relationship, get the fuck out. Why will men do everything except for have good sex with a girl and prioritize her pleasure? Like, what? How is this fun for him? He then proceeds to tell me he is angry that he has to initiate all the time. I wonder why. And every time when a sex scene is on TV, he makes comments like, I'm jealous. I'm not written like that. Or, see, that's what I want. Last time it got me so tired and frustrated, I told him those actresses in the movie get loads of money and fame at least in exchange for this role. Therefore, it is something for something, a business deal. Obviously, she will act how they want her to act. Then he told me it proves every woman just wants money and gets their pussy wet just for the thought of loads of money. I told him I doubt she was actually wet or if any real sex was happening. Again, it is an act. He got furious and told me to stop gaslighting him. LMAO. And just be like a real woman. Initiate sex, moan loudly, act like porn stars, basically. I told him I will if he gives me that amount of money they receive after shooting the movie. Then he called me degrading names and again accused me of being after money. I told him if I was after money, I would have never gotten together with him. Fire clap back. He started yelling something, but I didn't hear it anymore, as I was thinking on how on earth I got together with someone like this. You and me too, sis. Why haven't you broken up with him yet? I don't need advice. In that moment, I just realized I don't feel anything towards him anymore, and I have to leave if I want to keep my sanity, and if I ever want to have a great sex life, I'm leaving. Okay? I mean, clearly not the a-hole. Girl just wanted to vent. And honestly, you know what? If anybody deserves to vent, it's you. Another one of those posts that, like, I hope is fake. It pains me to think that these people actually exist like this. I don't know what dude needs to hear this, but sex is nothing like porn. Update March 18th, 2025. So after I wrote that post, I started packing my things while my boyfriend was standing behind me, shouting like he lost his goddamn mind, told me I couldn't leave, and when I zippered my bags, he stood in front of the door to block it when I thought he couldn't sink any lower. I will try to quote the exact last conversation we had there. Him, so you're just gonna leave because I told you what I want. OP. No, I'm leaving because I was the one who tried to communicate several times. You command, threaten, and are aggressive and belittling. Him, because you don't listen. OP, I listened, but I can't give you what you want. I'm not a porn star, and you don't understand they are acting. I don't want to act when I have sex with someone. Not to mention, it is not real sex what they're doing. They just act. Him, what do you mean it is not real sex when he legit fucks her. OP, so you think when a guy puts his penis into a vagina, that is sex. What about the connection, the pleasure, to caress each other, the foreplay and aftercare, to connect in every way? Him, that is not real. That's insane, bro. That is not real? Then why are you even in a relationship? What the fuck? At this point, I just chuckled and asked him to move out of the way. He refused. Him, so you admit money makes you enjoy sex. OP, no, but if I can't get anything enough out of our encounters and you want me to act, at least I can get the money. I won't enjoy it. I will just act like how porn addicts think women enjoy real sex, but it is not. So if you want me to act without enjoyment, what's more, pain, I want to get something out of it. Him, they enjoy it. OP, I doubt it. I won't start about exploitation of women and why exactly they get into porn or all of the extra work they do around the shooting. Him, some women enjoy being mistreated. OP, I doubt it, but even if they do, I don't think you understand the difference between BDSM in a safe relationship and abuse. They need help. I don't want to go to therapists to enjoy sex. Him, you just don't love me and never have. You are a fucking gold digger piece of whore. I hope someone fucks you up. OP, it is already done by you. Girl, get a restraining order. Holy shit. I just want to know how bro got through the first date. Was he just like the greatest hoodwinker that ever existed? Bro hoodwinked the fuck out of OP? How did we get here? That's what I want to know. He continued shouting, but at that point I was completely numb. I am still numb. It feels like I wasted all of my energy and positivity in this relationship, and I have nothing else in me. I just asked him to move, and he finally did, but still continued to call me everything you can imagine. I think he was almost crying too. Doesn't matter. One of my friends let me stay with her for a few weeks until I get my shit together, and I'm ready in every way to start a new chapter. But I'm just numb. I think I really need a therapist. Thank you all for your comments, though. I tried to read all of it in the car. Note 1, some people asked why I got together with him because he showed a different side of him. He was polite, respectful, he made me laugh, he cared about me. Until I moved in. Then everything started to change. Note 2, yes, he had a small penis. Yeah, chat. And this is why I'm so pro, like, don't rush into getting married with anybody. Like, imagine she had married him before they had moved in together and he was able to bamboozle her to a point to where they were actually, like, legally tied. That's so scary, man. Y'all, if you relate to this in any way, just get the fuck out of there. In no way should sex ever be like that. If you are feeling uncomfortable during sex, there is no justification for it. Guy or girl. Let me clarify that as well. If you're ever feeling uncomfortable, what is happening is not okay, no matter how the other person justifies it. My boyfriend said I'm the prettiest when I shut up in front of his friends. Originally posted to r/am I overreacting, original post March 9th, 2025. My boyfriend, 25 male, and I, 22 female, were invited to a birthday party of his friend. The people at this event were all close friends of his from his contract job, and I barely know these people. Everything was going fine, and my boyfriend was clearly having a great time, but at some point, I was telling a story from my school days when my boyfriend interrupted and said, you know, OP's name is prettiest when she shuts up. Everyone laughed, and my boyfriend just kept going, saying, you guys don't know what I go through. She never stops talking. I swear to God, sometimes I tune her out for my own sanity. Or something along those lines. Bro, do you even like her? When I'm like into a girl, I could hear her yapping for days, chat. She could put me in like a fucking rubber room with speakers and just start yapping and I'll have the fucking time of my life. Like, do you like her? That is an insane thing to say about someone that you are thinking about potentially spending your entire life with. Like, what? I'm usually really introverted, but when I warm up to someone, I am the type to talk a lot. So when he said these words, I felt so embarrassed and humiliated. Especially since he said it so casually in front of people I don't even know. I tried to brush it off, but I got quiet after that. Later, after the party was over, I told him how hurtful his comment was. He rolled his eyes and said I was being too sensitive and that it was just a joke and I was making a big deal out of nothing. He said I embarrassed him by acting cold for the rest of the night and that I should learn to take a joke. He also told me if I couldn't learn to lighten up, maybe I shouldn't come to events with his friends anymore, even though he was the one who asked me to come in the first place. I feel so awful and confused. Am I in the wrong for getting upset and killing the vibe? No, girl. Like, oh, maybe you shouldn't go to events with him. Maybe you should fucking break up with him. Like, this is the type of shit chat that I want to raise my daughter to never fucking put up with. A man says this to my daughter in front of their friends. She punches him, humiliates him, and then leaves. That is the only acceptable answer here, chat. Any man who thinks it's okay to treat a woman like this, castrate immediately. Snip, snip, chop, chop. That man does not deserve to have balls. And I stand on that. Also, the friends laughing kind of suck too. That's what all the bullies say. Exactly, dude. There are good jokes out there. That was not one of them. Easy as that. Pretty straightforward. There's no debating on that one. Update, March 11th, 2025. I broke up with him. Big dubs. Fuck this man. We had been dating for 2 years and it was the first time he'd acted that way, so I was genuinely conflicted and I wasn't sure if the joke really flew over my head. But I decided to leave. It takes me a lot of effort to come out of my shell and I feel uncomfortable to stay with someone who doesn't like that. My self-esteem is usually really low, but this time I spoke up for myself once in a long time. We broke up over text. It sucked since he kept bringing up all of his contract job friends over me again and again. These are people he acquainted with less than 7 months ago, so that alone told me some things. I guess I won't be missing anything since he ended our text with, bye, I don't give a fuck. Jesus. Thanks for all the sweet comments. At the time I wrote this post, I was feeling a lot down and cried a lot. I'm a bit sensitive, so I teared up reading some comments. Thanks again. I hope everyone has a nice day. And then this is just people hyping up OP, which is nice. Men do be menning. They do be doing dumb shit. That's kind of it. That's all we have to say. Single person now, more than 50% of my building's condo units. Dissolved condo board and installed themselves. Now she is telling us at the end of the month we won't have our parking spots anymore. Is this legal? So I think a better way to put this is more than 50% of my building's condo units are now single person. The condo board got dissolved and someone installed themselves. Now she is telling us at the end of the month we won't have our parking spots anymore. Is this legal? I have no idea if that's a better interpretation of it. I'm guessing English is not their first language, and if it is, they're from Toronto, Ontario. That's not one of the places they speak French primarily, right? No, that's Quebec. No excuses for the poor grammar. Okay, so this was originally posted to r/legal advice. Original post, February 28th, 2018. I bought my condo brand new in 2014. It was a small building, around 32 units on 4 floors. It is in a really nice location, and I paid a fair amount for my unit. When I first moved in, we had a condo management company who did a fine job. Unfortunately, late last year, we discovered at the board meeting that someone had now owned over 50% of the condos. This person is someone who, on several occasions, had tried to pressure me into selling my condo to her. She was offering less than what I paid, and I wouldn't be able to find an equivalent condo in the same area for the amount she was offering. This person basically voted by herself to dissolve the condo board and elected herself as the sole person in charge of everything. Today, I received a letter from our new condo overlord, which states, by March 1st, our parking spots are no longer going to be available. If we want to keep our spots, we must pay $175 a month. Failure to do so will result in our cars being towed. I have paperwork from when I bought my condo. Parking lot 3C was included in my purchase. When I pointed this out to her about this, I was told to more or less go fuck myself. And if my car is there on March 1st, it will be towed. I basically have a single day to figure out what to do. Since this comes into effect tomorrow, do I go try to find legal advice right now? Fuck yeah, you should. If I'm OP, me and the tenants are parking our cars at the beginning of the lot to block a tow truck from getting in there. That is insane work. For legal reasons, this is a joke. But if someone tried to pull this shit on me, I would figure out how to make their life fucking miserable. Not to suck my own dick, chat, but we pulled some pretty funny ass pranks in college. I could make this woman's life a nightmare just from like 3 or 4 different ideas I already have in my head. I think you gotta hire a lawyer, bro. Yeah, that's insane. Shit, bro, you guys gotta like change your condo bylaws. I don't even know. Let's just see what all the legal advice people had to say. Commenter, you definitely need a lawyer. The condo board must comprise of at least 3 owners and must act in the best interest of all owners. There are provisions in the Condo Act to force a board to do things or not to do things. In one case, the board was ordered to personally pay legal costs and the cost of restoring a parking lot to its original condition. OP, I'm going to meet one tomorrow for a consult. I managed to get 2 other owners to get on board with us fighting it. However, I did find out that the board does actually have 3 owners. One of them is apparently her husband, and the other is someone who is related to her. Neither she or her husband actually live in the building. That's fucking crazy that you can pull some shit like that. OOP added more on what the new owner has done to the complex. I am probably going to move because everything is going to shit. She has done almost no maintenance, and the person who was responsible for cleaning the general use areas was let go. We have had 2 of the 6 washing machines have been broken since Christmas. If my car is towed tomorrow, what legal recourse do I have? Because according to what is written down on my ownership is that I own spot number 3C. To explain a few things, 1, I do have a title to my parking spot. That from my understanding basically says I own that parking spot. 2, we only have around 18 parking spots and there are more tenants than spots available. 3, I have nowhere to park aside from my parking lot. Street parking is basically good for an hour tops, and trying to find a place is like looking for a needle in a haystack. 4, I found out today she isn't the sole overlord of our condo board. Apparently there are 2 other board members. One is her husband and the other is related to her. 5, her husband owns a towing company. 6, apparently someone is moving into the building tomorrow and has paid for my spot. So if I am not gone by midnight, she is towing my car. Yeah, bro, get a lawyer because, like, she can't sell that, especially if you have a title to the parking spot. Like, tell that person, sorry, bro, you got fucking bamboozled. She committed fraud on your ass. Go sue her too. Like, that's what I would say. All I'm saying is her tires would have been slashed by now. Can't say I condone it. Like, we know this woman voted for Trump. I know they live in Canada, but she would have. I think the flat tires are just an unfortunate coincidence. I agree with you, Holly. Very unfortunate. Update, March 10th, 2018, about 10 days after the original post. I wanted to thank everyone for the advice. Me and several other tenants got on board with a lawyer who promptly wrote her a rather verbal letter, which kindly and suggestively told her to pound sand. Since that letter, she has completely stopped and retracted all her statements about parking no longer being ours. On top of this, one of the other tenants apparently tipped off a Toronto newspaper. I haven't seen an article, however. In response to this, it seems like she has completely changed her mind/policy on maintaining the building. Now we have someone who actually seems to come every day to properly perform cleaning and maintenance. Sadly, regardless of all these changes, I am planning on getting out ASAP because unfortunately, I feel after a few months, she will probably change her mind/opinion on everything. Edit, I forgot to mention, on the night she threatened to have people's cars towed, both me and another person recorded the tow truck driver trying to set up a tow for my neighbor's car. After confronting the tow truck driver about how he was illegally trying to tow someone's car, he immediately took off. We passed that along to the lawyer. Okay, so short term turned out well, but like no long term update here. I mean, I'm guessing not if it's from 2018. I mean, that's just crazy that shit like that can happen, guys. I hate that shit. That's so stupid. I would be such a little shit if something like this happened to me. If some like asshole was trying to like pull some shit on me, ooh, I would not play fair. I'd make their life a living hell. I would just take all of Bean's litter scoopings, set it on fire on her front door. Like leave it in front of all of her units every day. Yo, they should tow her car. I know she doesn't live there, but they need to find out where she lives and then go get her car towed. For real, for real. Personally, I just do something petty. Me too. It's good for the soul. A little petty never hurt nobody. Actually, it probably did, but I like to think it didn't hurt nobody. My husband wants me to quit my job now that we have children and he makes enough money. I love my work and the thought of being a housewife is torture to me. If I don't quit, he's leaving me. Originally posted to r/relationship advice. Original post January 16th, 2022. For anonymity, I can't go into details, but my husband, 34 male, has developed something in IT that's well known and it made him rich. I, 38 female, am a chef and I make probably 1/100th of what he does. It does matter for me, however, because I love my job. We have a great life together. We had our first child, a baby girl, 3 years ago, and our twin boys are 9 months old. I have a few months left of my maternity leave, and with the country closing up again because of the new Omicron variant, I started getting worried that my workplace won't take me back. I voiced my worries to my husband a couple of days ago, and he just shrugged and said, "It's not like we needed the money." I was confused and told him that I know that. It wasn't about the money. He just shrugged. I was a bit annoyed, to be honest, because I thought he didn't think it a big deal that I became out of work. Yesterday, I was still thinking about it, so I decided to talk to him about it again. He was confused and told me that I should instead be happy that I could spend time with my babies. And he asked me why I insisted on working when we have 3 small children, and he made enough money for both of us. He didn't like me working 4 to 5 evenings a week and including 1 to 2 weekends a month. I told him that I love my job and that I'm good at it. I've been doing it for almost 20 years now, and that just the thought of not doing anything for the rest of my life is suffocating. He was visibly upset by that, and he accused me of loving my job more than my babies and him. I could always cook at home for the family, and if I was worried I would lose my independence, he could transfer the same amount I earned from my job to my private account monthly. This is such a red flag to me. Like, especially as somebody who really loves what they do for work, aka this, like, even before this shit like popped off a little bit, I would cut girls off if they like gave me a vibe that they didn't support the work that I did. Like, I think that is one of the biggest red flags ever. If you love something and your partner doesn't respect that and at least like treat it as something extremely important to you that you guys need to work into or around your lives, don't even entertain it. That is such a red flag to me. Also, he's low-key like, my thing is more important than yours, which is just such a man thing to do. I started crying and he kissed and hugged me and told me that he loved me, but he's been thinking about this since our girl was born and he didn't like me coming home late at night. So I needed to choose between my job or being a family. I was startled. Did he mean this as an ultimatum? He did. He actually wants me to be a housewife or we go our separate ways. I went to my mom's place first thing this morning. She listened to me talking and crying, but when I finished, she wasn't indignant on my behalf like I expected. She was silent for a while, and then she asked me to think carefully about my next move. If we get divorced, I need to think about my babies. I will never be able to give them the life their dad is giving them, and I might lose them because of it. Wait, hold on. How? Chat, maybe I'm wrong, but like from what I know, unless you sign a prenup, he's got to give you 50% of that. So like you can be a full-time chef, give your babies the life that they want, and take half of his money. If that's not the biggest fuck you to a man ever, I don't know what is. Is it worth it to change their lives so drastically and have them live in two separate houses? All that for a job. It's not about the job. If she didn't love the job and it made sense and the husband wasn't pushing for it, maybe it's worth at least considering. But it's not about the job. It's about the husband wanting his way or no way, like a fucking child. Like, these are the ultimatums I'm not a fan of. Hey, either quit your job and be a traditional housewife like a good wife should be, or I'm gonna leave you. Like, fuck that guy. I have worked my whole adult life and just could see this as an early retirement. Many would dream of this. Why couldn't I enjoy it? I wasn't expecting my mom saying these things. She's always been this strong, independent woman who raised us to be independent and taught me to never rely 100% on anyone other than myself. Hearing her say all that made me question my feelings. Before I met her, I was totally sure I was right being hurt and angry. But now I think maybe I'm overreacting and that my husband's request wasn't that unreasonable. But if that's the case, why do I feel like my heart is swollen in my throat? Why does it feel like he made this ultimatum because he knew he has power and he's using it? Throw any suggestion or advice my way and please be honest, not rude honest, because I feel I'm wronged here and I'm having a hard time thinking from my husband's perspective. Nah, dude, because what he could have said is like, oh, I just want someone full-time with our kids. Let's hire a nanny. Dude, fuck this, man. This is a power trip. This is manipulation. This is him wanting to just put you into that traditional role because he probably strokes his fucking meat to Andrew Tater Tot when you're not watching him. Like, get rid of the whole man and take his money. That's my shtick. Fuck this guy. Don't get me wrong. That's gonna suck for the kids, 100%. But you could just be like, hey, daddy didn't want me to be happy, so I divorced his bitch ass. You should do the same if your partners ever do that. I think that's a better parent than just being like, I quit my dream job to be a stay-at-home mom because daddy threatened me. I don't think that's good for your kids either, bro. First update, January 27th, 2022, 11 days after the original post. I got a lot of really good advice. I just want to clarify some things about my post that many seem to have misinterpreted. I'm sorry my language wasn't very clear. I don't work 4 to 5 days plus weekends. I work 35 to 45 hours a week in total, and sometimes it's just during the weekend. Staying at home mom isn't normal in my country. Daycare is free and we don't have a nanny. Wait, bro, you have free daycare and people want you to be a stay-at-home mom? That sounds like a great country. Maybe, just maybe, the US should stop implementing tariffs and implement this. How fucking crazy would that be? Maybe our economy wouldn't drop like 5%, 6% in one day. I'm saying this because I want you to understand why I was taken aback about this whole situation. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to stay-at-home moms. He can't get sole custody just because of his wealth or because of my work hours. It doesn't work like this here, thank God. But I'm thankful for those who expressed worry about that because I know this is the sad reality in other parts of the world. But can you get half of his wealth? That's what I want to know, because I say go for it. So to the update, I've had long talks with my husband about all of what happened, trying to understand his point of view. I have told him that I can't see myself as a housewife ever, but that I'm willing to start looking for jobs with better hours or that I can finally start my own restaurant. I feel like that would be so many more hours. Not saying that you shouldn't, but I don't know if that's a solution to like compromise. I could start searching for a location in office buildings and start a lunch spot so that I don't need to work evenings and weekends. Oh, okay. I see. That actually makes sense. He didn't seem happy at all with that suggestion. He asked me why I'm so insistent on going back to work. He said these last months have been the happiest of his life, coming home from work every day to his family, and that he thought I am happy too. I am. I love being with my babies all day, but just because I'm enjoying my maternity leave, it doesn't mean I don't want to go back to work. In fact, I'm enjoying every minute now because I know it's not permanent. We had a row. He said he's always felt that I'm scared of him making much more money and that I'm scared of being dependent on him. So if I'm insisting on working because I don't want to be dependent, he could pay me 10 times what I earn to stay home. I started crying and told him I'm not going to be a housewife and I don't accept ultimatums, so he should do what he felt fit. He said he's tired of going around feeling that his wife is intimidated by his success. You fucking moron, she's not. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you're so insecure and such a little bitch, honestly. That's a you problem. She's literally told you, I like my job. It makes me happy. This is what I want to do with my life. Hey bro, fucking insane idea. Listen to your wife. Stop being a selfish prick. It's actually that easy. He's doing all this for the both of us. I have to admit that I'm sometimes scared of him having more power than me. He said it's all in my head, but really, would he ever dare to ask me to quit my job if he didn't feel like he had the power to do it? Could I ask him to quit his job with that same ease? There's no denying the power dynamics in our relationship, and I have all the right to be scared of it. I think in general, it's dangerous for the dynamic of a marriage to change suddenly because one person wants it to change. If you wanted her to be a stay-at-home wife, there should have been a talk before you guys got married, before you brought kids into the equation, about her becoming a stay-at-home wife if something like this were to happen. And that's how every marriage should work. You guys should know, like, if we have kids and I'm able to afford supporting the entire family by myself and you want to be a stay-at-home wife, that is an option that we can do. It's not an option I'm going to force you to do, but we can if you choose to do so. Or if just from right off the rip, it's like, you're going to be a stay-at-home mom that takes care of our kids. The second you want to change the dynamic on like a surprise shoddy type beat, that's when you're fucking wrong as hell. So there was no progress really, and no matter how much I explain myself, he doesn't seem to understand me, and probably he feels the same with me. It feels like we're on different levels. I've suggested counseling. He said he will think about it. Now we're just civil to each other, but we don't talk much, and we haven't been intimate since I first brought up going back to work. I love him and I miss him. I don't want it to end, but the ball is in his court now. My mom is very angry with me. We haven't spoken for a week. I don't know what to do with her either. Yo, honestly, fuck your mom. Like, what an unsupportive asshole. Also, hypocrite. Like, you taught her to be independent her entire life, and now you want to switch up on it? Like, are you dumb? We've said our piece. This man sucks. Update 2, Monday, January 31st. 4 days after the first update and a little over 2 weeks since the original. My husband and I talked yesterday for the first time in 2 weeks, and he was the one who initiated the conversation. I saw my chance to try to find out why he's behaving like this, and at the same time make sure that he knows that I'm not backing up. I told him that while I'm enjoying my maternity leave, the thought of it being for the rest of my life suffocated me. I suffer from severe claustrophobia. I don't know if it has anything to do with this. I asked him why he's doing this. He knew my job was important to me, so why was he making this impossible request when he knew it would mean the end of us? Word for word, OP said, if you are having second thoughts about our marriage and want an out, please just tell me the truth. He became very upset and accused me of trying to gaslight him. He said his reasons are legit. There's nothing wrong with wanting his wife to be there for her family, and the children won't stop needing me just because they went to school. I started crying. Sorry, I'm a crybaby. And I told him if this is over, he should know it's all on him. He started yelling. No, it was because I'm too stubborn and too self-involved to actually take a second and think about his wishes. I just really think OP needs to turn this on him. Like, oh, I'm too stubborn and too self-involved to take a second look and think about your wishes? What about mine, bro? These are mine wishes, and you're too stubborn, too self-involved, and honestly, too fucking insecure to even take into account what I'm saying and why it's important to me. Stupid. Honestly, get rid of him. Snip, snip, chop, chop. Those kids are gonna grow up to hate him. Like, he literally is gonna break up a marriage because he's an insecure man. I wanted to leave because I couldn't be with him anymore, but he said that it would be more convenient if he did. He's moved to our city apartment. I feel lost and hurt. I love him so much, but I don't think continuing this relationship is healthy for either of us. My heart is breaking for my children. I don't know what to do. For now, I will just sit tight and wait for him to send me the divorce papers. Thank you again for the help and advice. It helped a lot. P.S. Mom was here yesterday. We talked a lot and she's finally getting on my side. I knew that when it came to it, she will be on my side, and I'm so grateful. Still have a nasty feeling about her. Final update, February 10th, 2022. 10 days after that second update, about 3 weeks from the original post, and the title of it was, We're Separating. Thank you to everyone for the support. My husband and I are separating. This is what he wants. As I suspected, this was more than just me going back to work. He's been feeling resentment towards a lot of things about me. Many of them I can't change, and the rest I don't want to change. It's not his or my fault. We're just not compatible with each other anymore. I mean, we don't know what he's been feeling resentment about, but I would put money that it actually is his fault and you're not holding him to the fire as much as you should. Especially like kind of knowing that he said this and you didn't press a lot of it, or maybe you did. Maybe you just didn't include it, but like I'm making assumptions here. I think there's a lot here that bro needs to be called out on. I still have 14 months with my babies. Afterwards, all children are big enough for shared custody. I'm staying in the big house for now, but after divorce, I'm going to move back to the city. I've been talking to my boss about my job. She will help me find a schedule around having the children, so maybe I will work lunch hours the weeks I have them. My ambition is still to open my own, but maybe a bit further in the future. I still love him. I thought that we were inseparable, but when he started resenting the very same things he loved about me, I knew this was hopeless. It sucks big time and hurts like hell, but here we are. I appreciate how amicable she's keeping it for the kids, but I think there's a little bit of self-love that needs to be learned here because I think that the husband's actions are unacceptable. This may be very toxic of me, but I really want OP to be more mad at the husband than she is. On some like, fuck this guy shit. I can never imagine being financially dependent on someone else as an adult, unless that's like really how you want to live your life. I've always said, if a woman's like, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom and be like a trad wife, like, okay, that's not the life that I would want to live if I was a woman. But like, you know what? That's your life. You do whatever the fuck you want. If you want like a dude who's going to be misogynistic as fuck to you, like, I can't stop you. But that's so unattractive to me. Like, I can't date a girl that doesn't have ambition. I really can't. And don't get me wrong. Like, if we had kids and then she was like, you know what? I think this is my ambition in life now. Being the best mom that I possibly can. That is also attractive to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't pivot with your partner, you just suck. And this woman didn't even fucking pivot. He was like, do for me because I am man. I have money. Therefore, you do what I say. What a fucking bitch. Tonight, I broke up with my boyfriend because he kept joking about murdering me. Originally posted to r/2x chromosomes. Original post, April 4th, 2024. During our first few weeks of dating, he joked too much for comfort that he was going to murder and dismember me and dispose of my body. Maybe out of context. I'm being dramatic. He's very sarcastic and has dark humor, but to me, it wasn't funny and caused me anxiety because I know the statistics. I talked to him about this. I told him repeatedly, stop joking about killing me. He kept on with the jokes until I finally told him that these jokes literally scare me. He apologized and seemed to feel bad that his jokes made me scared of him. Tonight, we were over 3 hours late to meet with his brother to play games, watch movies, and eat dinner. When I was talking to him about us being late, I noticed he sighed deeply, clenched his fist, and looked down at it, as if he were making the conscious choice to not punch me. Don't even take the chance. What are we doing? Then as I was saying goodbye to his brother, he comes into the room and says she should say her permanent goodbyes. I asked him WTF. He said it was a joke. I asked how it's funny. What's the punchline? Please explain to me how that was supposed to be funny. He couldn't answer. I didn't want to get in the car with him. I walked off and thankfully my roommate picked me up and drove me home. Yeah, fucking good call on that one. Holy shit. Holy fucking red flag, bro. Get out of there. It's not even a, oh, should I? It's a, yeah, bro. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if somebody's making jokes like this, it's not funny. He called later and I told him I'm done. He's a good man other than for the jokes about killing me. We talked about it and agreed that he wouldn't joke about killing me anymore. But then he did it again tonight and doubled down that it was just a joke and that actually I'm the problem. I started telling him again about how often women are killed by their husbands and boyfriends, and that's why the jokes bother me so much. But he interrupted me to say, fuck you. So I hung up and blocked him. All of this really sucks because my roommates say I should just talk it out with. What? Are your roommates stupid? The fuck? I met rocks with more brain cells than your roommates, bro. Get the fuck out of there. No, just absolutely not. Just talk it out with him. He's threatening to kill her. That's not something you talk out. That's something you get hundreds of miles away. All of this really sucks because my roommates say I should just talk it out with him and give him another chance because they can tell I really like him and he really likes me. Oh, well, if he really likes you, like, just let him threaten to kill you and maybe actually be serious about it. If he really likes you. Hello? Common sense has left the room. I can't believe that. But I already did that. I thought we were past the homicide jokes. Then he did it again tonight while he was angry with me. And it caused me this awful feeling in my gut that I needed to not get in the car with him and get away with him. I've had boyfriends and male friends in the past. None of them have ever made jokes about murdering and dismembering me, especially multiple times after I told them to stop. Have you had friends / boyfriends that make jokes like this? Where is the humor in it? What would you do in this situation? The only time I've ever made a joke about like quote unquote killing a girl, whatever. 2 years ago, I was talking to this girl on Hinge and like we weren't able to see each other for the first like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. And like she made a joke about me being a serial killer and I just like kind of like leaned into it. I was like, oh, you caught me. And then it kind of just became this like reoccurring joke. But like it was a comfortable joke that we both knew didn't cross a line. It wasn't like she would do something and then I would be like, I'm gonna murder you and dismember you. Like that's fucking so wild. It was like she made the joke and then I just played off of it. I'm sure other people have like made a joke like that. It is a joke, but it's not clenching your fist, debating punching someone. It's not telling someone to say their permanent goodbyes. Murdering is like question mark and the dismembering is insanely specific. And that's a red flag to me. Like that probably means that he's actively thought about this and like wanted to do it, bro. Like really wanted to do it. I still can't get over the friends. That's the part to me that I'm like, the fuck? So there's a small update on the same post, April 5th, 2024, the next day. Update, thank you everyone for your overwhelming support. Also, thank you for the important links and resources in the comments. I've learned a lot and shared them with my friends. I love this sub. I haven't heard from him and he hasn't caused any trouble since the breakup. If anything comes up, I'll update this post. A couple of the top comments, someone said, you've already given him chances. He agreed to change, then he broke his word. So not only is he verbally abusive and potentially violent, he also breaks his word. You did nothing wrong. There's no humor in what he said. And abusers frequently excuse their abuse in the 2 ways he did. First, they say it was a joke. If you don't accept that, then they try to blame it on you. You don't want to become a statistic. Well, there are plenty of men out there who will never threaten to kill you. You have done exactly the right thing. Don't feel bad about anything you've done. My one piece of old woman advice to you is to be very strict around dating men when it comes to threats, joke or not. If a man threatens you in any way, tell him that if he does it again, it's over. Don't tolerate any kind of threats or violence ever. If the man is actually a danger, he will see tolerance as a sign that he can violate your boundaries without consequences. And this person left a link to a PDF called Why Does He Do That? Is this like a whole ass book, chat? Oh my God. All right, guys. So we're going to read this entire 559 page book. I feel like somebody like illegally put this here, you know? Like, is this like a full ass book? I don't know if we were supposed to show that, besties. Another commenter said, just remember there's a lot of murdered women that once said he'd never do that to me. Agreed. Another comment, when I was a teenager, I would go driving around country roads and around our smallish town with male buddies from school. I'm a woman. And one night, my really good friend thought it was a good idea to make a joke about chopping me up with an axe. I got really terrified because it was just an overwhelming and scary thing to hear, and I started to cry. The immediate regret was obvious in my friend's eyes, and he genuinely looked mortified for having scared me so bad. He started apologizing and saying it was such a stupid joke and reassured me. In the moments after making his stupid attempt at humor and seeing the impact it had, he felt remorse and wanted to correct his behavior. Your ex did not do this, or if he did, he immediately repeated the scary behavior again anyways. My friend never made a joke like that again. Men who actually care about us will respond empathetically to our fear response and will want to do whatever it takes to ensure we feel safe around them, especially if it's as simple as refraining from making dumb jokes. I hope you never have to see this creep again, and good for you for sticking up for yourself. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. I think people can make the mistake of making that joke, but based off how you react to being told that you did something wrong is a huge tell for me. Yeah, like OP said, if he had backtracked and said sorry and showed remorse, sure, maybe this guy deserves a second chance, but he did not do that. Update post March 9th, 2025, 11 months later. Thankfully, I've moved across state since then and have not seen him since. The last time I spoke to him over the phone, I made it very clear several times. Me, you promised you'd stop making jokes about murdering me, but then you did it again. Me, you realize the greatest threat for women is being murdered by their boyfriend/husbands. They are most likely to be killed by men they know. Him, hey, OP, fuck you. So I hung up, I ghosted him after that, blocked him on everything, and alerted my employer if he ever showed up that he was a threat. However, he sent me an email in an attempt to, I don't know. I'll leave you to draw conclusions because I really can't make any sense of it. The email he sent me, Dear OP, I don't really know how to go about saying that I'm empathetic, as I'm a me-pathetic mess. Bro, this needs to be like a serious apology. And not only did you make a joke, but a really fucking bad one. That's crazy. I would have immediately stopped reading and been like, I'm not reading all that, but congrats or I'm sorry. Just hit him with one of those. As I'm a me pathetic mess, but I do feel I can understand and I have recognized my actions have consequences clearly. I thought I was being reasonable. I gave you time and space. I wasn't sure how long I needed to wait or if I should just do nothing, but I didn't know you had even blocked me until today, as I had not called and only texted that first day expecting nothing back. Yet now I understand. I should have known. I tried to call you tonight though. Despite my better judgment, that's when it hit me hard. It's been almost 2 weeks. I know you don't want to be in a relationship with me, but I wanted to end this civilly. I could hope at least. On terms that we both could live on, amicably, or me, since I didn't have a choice. That terrible night was booze-ridden and unfortunately for me, the end of us. I didn't get any chance, but I made my choices and I was cut off of you like the cancer I became, regardless of how much I remember, due to my memories being cut down by Irish whiskey and I hazed focus. What the fuck is homeboy yapping about? Insane how we're a paragraph in and all I'm hearing from bro is just I feel like this. I blah blah blah. I blah blah. Shut the fuck up, bro. Where's the hey, I understand how you feel. I understand that you are upset with me and you deserve that. Like, shut the actual fuck up, bro. Nobody cares how you feel. What a selfish piece of shit. Also, he's just coming up with excuses for himself. He's like dancing around taking accountability. He's like, I kind of messed up, but there's a reason for it. Like, no, you're just a piece of shit. You ghosted me. Now I know how that feels as I have done that to others. I deserve this. It's interesting because you mentioned to me that I never had to change my number in my last relationship over 5 years ago because all I needed to do was block them. Damn, history not only repeats itself, but can be fucking ironic. I lost one of my best friends. I lost you. I have been hurting. OP. This hurt even more when I realized you don't even want to communicate with me. I would ask why, but I know it's because you hate me. What you think of me. What you think I am. Who likes Andrew Tate? Nobody. I embody that nobody. I am hate. I am Tate. Yo, someone needs to 5150 this guy. I think he's going fucking crazy. Like, what is this line? Like, is bro high? Who likes Andrew Tate? Nobody. I embody that nobody. I am hate. I am Tate. That's the vibe I'm getting, bro. I'm gonna be saying that unironically for the next year of my life. I am Tate. I am Tate. You are Tate. He, she, we, Tate. That's insane, dog. I obviously have a lot of growing up to do. I was not aware of just how much. I do not regret you or the experiences I shared, which were awesome and different than all the treasures I had experienced with another soul. We had so much in common, and yet the few things we didn't shaped itself into a shadow that blocked our light. Your light. I regret not realizing that perhaps I was just not ready. You are so beautiful and awesome, OP, and I hate hurting you in any way, especially since you deserve so much love, and instead I gave you fear. You, however, only gave me happiness, and you made me feel wanted, so much so that it blindsided me. I haven't been that happy in a very long time, and maybe that's why I fell for you so hard and so fast, as I had been in the dark for years, and your essence got me as high as a kite. I could see the sky for once. I was flying. I had been grounded since I lost my wings a few years ago, and it showed. I started sinking in the sands of time, in bottles, in gates drowned by my fears. This is as close as he's gotten so far to like maybe giving a sincere apology, but he's doing it in a crazy person way. Why are you comparing yourself to a fucking kite, bro? Just say you're sorry and that you ruined the relationship. My brother lost a friend because of me. I lost because of me. I may be a good person that does bad things, but I did a bad thing to a good person. It scares me to think that when we do, and it will inevitably happen as it's a small town, run into each other. You will fear me, and I will fear you. I don't want that, but I made my grave, and I suppose I need to sleep in it. Not what you do in a grave. I think you meant bed, but sure, bro. Surprisingly, that's probably the most sense he's made in this entire fucking shit show of a letter. I will not call you again as I did tonight, as much as I want to. You can always call me, but I am aware that is about as real as my dreams coming true. I have respected your space. I haven't tried to suffocate it or breathe your air. I just wanted to bury myself with a little dignity today, considering that I must be public enemy number 1. I'm embarrassed to admit that running into your roommates or even coworkers makes me feel uncomfortable. That I did to myself and you. I'm sorry, OP. I don't know what else to say. I know you will find someone sooner or later who will treat you with respect and make you feel loved. I am not him. I am not him. Sorry you guys had to experience that bit. I failed, but you will never have that. As much as I don't want to think of it, And you deserve it, as much as I don't commit to that. I know you think I don't love you. You can ghost me. You cannot respond. I don't think you will anyways. Maybe you won't even read this, which is okay. I needed to say my piece to rest at sea, but you can't take away how I felt or how I feel at all. Maybe that was the problem. I was too much. You thought I was just a blimp in time anyhow, and now that blimp can finally sink in time. First off, don't get me wrong, insane read. Like, insanely entertaining how fucking crazy he is. Yeah, really should have hit him with the I'm not reading all that, but congrats or I'm sorry, because that was... I think I lost brain cells reading that. So here's a downvoted comment. People talking about this man being sociopath, psychopath, narcissist. To me, he sounds like a generic boy that is trying to verbalize his emotions for the first time. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're a boy verbalizing your emotions the way that he is verbalizing it in this paragraph, go to a psych ward. This is not normal. I know it was kind of a joke when I said 5150, but like getting towards the end of that, I was like, oh, maybe that's actually the move, bro. Like, this is not in any way a healthy way to express how you feel. I don't know how old he is, but it reads like the letters my first boyfriend at 20 years old sounded. Trying to be poetic and funny and failing at both, and just word vomiting emotions without fully understanding them. Yeah, that's just a normal dude learning his actions have consequences for the first time. He's like 40. Y'all, I was imagining like a 20-year-old. Fucking 40 and you're saying all this shit? If I'm like this when I'm 40 years old, just take me out back and put me out of my misery, guys. Please and thank you. I would rather die a horrible death than turn out like this man. That makes this fucking line about Andrew Tater Tot and the I am Tate even fucking funnier. That is some wicked shit, chat. Actually rancid activity from a 40-year-old, bro. Okay, it looks like a commenter was justifying making bad jokes while they're under the influence of alcohol, but OP clarified most of the time when he made the jokes, he was totally sober. Okay, this is just OP clarifying that they weren't together for long and he bamboozled her. Shit, bro, I hope none of you guys are in this situation, but if you at all related to that story, please get the fuck out. Genuinely. I can't believe that. Wow. Just wow. 40 years old and you're acting like that. Sorry about to cry. The age reveal was insane. Just diabolical, bro. My new team is taunting me because I have a nut allergy. Original post, October 26th, 2020. I have a nut allergy and carry an EpiPen. It's never been an issue in the 12 years I've worked for my company. I have recently been promoted to a new department. As usual, I explained to the manager I have a nut allergy, but it doesn't affect anything, i.e., it's not an airborne allergy. First aiders are aware and always available, and my EpiPen is located in my drawer if needed. I said I was only letting him know as sometimes I don't join in team buffets/bake-offs and don't want to appear rude. The manager sent out an email to the entire department banning nuts of any kind in the office because my full name is allergic. I mean, did he have to name drop him like that? I like the sentiment, but like, talk about putting bro on blast. Also, did they say if they're male or female? I'm saying bro gender neutral, but no gender here. I was mortified and hastily explained that there was no need for that and it's not that kind of allergy. I'm only ill if I eat them, not if other people do. The manager refused to withdraw or clarify the email and declared the whole department is now nut-free. Cool, but like, you don't gotta do all that. This is like very much reminding me of that guy that was buying like $6,000 bracelets for his girlfriend. Like, I like the idea, you're going overboard. When I asked why, he said it's company policy that if anyone has an allergy, the allergen is banned from the department and he can't change it. I explained that in 12 years, this has never been the case. I asked him to withdraw the email and explained again, the reason is not necessary. He refused, saying his decision was final and it will not be changed. He's not getting sued for something like this and literally walked away from his desk. Still, you didn't need to fucking name drop the guy. Since his email went out, there have been a lot of snide comments like, ooh, I would have loved a peanut butter sandwich, but thanks to you know who, I can't. Or all these people with made up allergies looking for attention. And here comes the fun police when I walk past. Who the fuck cares about eating nuts this much? If someone told me, hey man, you can't eat any type of nuts at work, I'd be like, huh, okay. I guess I just won't eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, are there really people out there that they're like, this inconveniences my life so much, I just need to be mean to the guy that won't let me eat my nuts. It's been a month and it's escalating. Every day this week, I've came into mini Snickers bars lined up along my keyboard. Everyone denies responsibility. I've tried to just laugh it off, but it's starting to really affect me. Does OP have a job with a bunch of high schoolers? The change of department is a promotion, and I was so excited to learn and develop new skills, but I want nothing more than to go slinking back to my old position where the staff were lovely. I'm worried if I do ask to transfer back to my original department and pay grade, I will be passed over for future promotions for being flaky and unreliable. Is it even possible to apply for a demotion? What can I do? Okay, this is a really bad one for me to give advice on because I don't have very much corporate experience. Let me start off right from the rip by saying go to HR for sure. This is unbelievably ridiculous. If you can't transfer in the company internally without them not understanding that you're doing it because they hired a bunch of fucking high schoolers, then in my head, go find a new job, bro. And see if you can maybe take some sort of legal action on this company because this sounds fucking stupid. Like, don't get me wrong, bro. I love making fun of a nut allergy. It's hilarious. Like, a little nut can take you out. I clown my friends with nut allergies, but it's all in good jest. If you seriously are like, this dude's nut allergy is ruining my fucking day, and this is my biggest op in life, is that I can't take nuts to work. Bro, get a fucking life. There are so many other things in this life that you could care about that are way more important than fucking nuts in a workplace. Honestly, like, that's what I would do. If I walked by and people said some shit, I'd be like, dude, do you really care about nuts that bad? Like, I'll give you some nuts, but no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. Nope. Not the answer, chat. But wouldn't that be kind of funny? Just like a little bit, like just this much. Also, literally HIPAA violation disclosing medical info. I feel like there is a lawsuit somewhere in here. I feel like a good lawyer will be like, yeah, bro, let's go to HR. Make sure they give you a fat severance package or they promote you to an even better position with other people. That's my tip, y'all. Put a lawyer on retainer. War, violence, drugs. OP's coworkers. Forget that. We can't have nuts. Like, just the most first world problem I've ever heard of. How the fuck are you letting your day get ruined by the lack of nuts in your life? Is that really going to ruin your day like that? Update February 22nd, 2021. 2 months later. I just want to say a massive thank you for your advice. I genuinely was going to quit a job that I'd been in for years and that I love over it. Your advice and comments from the readers gave me confidence to tackle it. I did approach HR, who advised me to speak to my boss if I felt like I was being bullied. Obviously, that wasn't feasible as the boss was fully aware of what was going on. I scheduled a meeting with the head of site, who is second in command to the CEO, and laid out everything that had been happening, the bullying, but also the toxic environment. I was promoted to implement training and coaching because the department wasn't performing and it was having a knock-on effect on other departments and ultimately customers. Oh, well, that would add up. They put him in a department full of dumbasses and dickheads to make them better. And what do you know? They're a bunch of dumbasses and dickheads. Like, he wasn't aware of any of the issues with the department. It's a small department which has flown under the radar for years. He promised me the situation would be investigated and to log every single incident in an email to him personally. I felt incredibly stupid having to send email after email listing the many incidents that occurred, but I logged everything. He came in personally one morning to catch the person putting the nuts on my desk. She was fired instantly. It was the boss's right-hand woman who believed she should have got the promotion, not me. And this was her attempt to make me leave. The boss was suspended pending investigation. It turns out that for the last 4 years, he has not been doing any paperwork. Return to works, one-to-ones, PDP, CPDs, nothing. No clue what any of that fucking meant. Right over my head. No idea what any of that was. But it sounds bad. During the investigation, they also looked into staff turnover, and there have been numerous accusations of bullying, which has been ignored, and a high number of staff had quit. He resigned last week before they could fire him, and I know it's unkind, but I'm absolutely thrilled. It's been hard work making changes within the department. There have been some pushback and major changes have needed to be made. 2 staff have quit because they now actually need to perform, but we have 2 staff from different departments and a new manager who are all incredible. The head of site has been incredibly humble about it, which I did not expect. He apologized and acknowledged this should have been picked up years ago and assured me going forward, the business will be putting more measures in to ensure it can't happen again. All right. We love when there's actually somebody high up in the company who actually gives a shit about the people that work there. Big W-Ubby. Can't even lie about that one. Ended as best as it possibly could have. Am I being a bridezilla by asking my best friend's partner to not propose at my wedding? There are almost no scenarios where this is okay, but I'm here for the bridezilla drama. Originally posted to Charlotte Dobray's YouTube subreddit on February 21st, 2025. I get married in April. We got engaged at Christmas, but in January, my dad was given 5 months max after being taken off of chemo for it not working. I will preface this by saying I never wanted the big white wedding. I am not a fan of being the center stage, etc. My best friend, 26 female of 14 plus years, is the polar opposite of me. My partner and I have been super busy with work, so I have allowed my parents to plan the wedding. His parents are out of the country on holobobs, but have had input on today's episode of I have no idea what the fuck that is, so we're gonna Google it. Holobobs is such a word that can refer to a holiday or a dance song. What a crazy duality of a word. It could mean a holiday or it could be a dance song. You Brits and your funny words. My dad wanted a bigger celebration as this will be the last chance he gets to celebrate. I am obviously heartbroken and want to give him exactly what he wants. I chose my bridesmaids and my partner chose his best man / groomsman. My best friends is one of my bridesmaids and my niece is my other. My bestie from day one of being asked has been finding dresses. Not a problem. I've said all along, I just want them to feel comfortable, so to wear what they want. I am paying. Some of the dresses were questionable, but I honestly didn't have the heart to tell her. Men's suits were all chosen and everyone was happy. A little side note here. My parents have never been a fan of my bestie. They think she's an attention seeker and a bit of a tart. They accepted my choice because they know I love her to bits. Last week, when we went to see my bestie, she had a baby recently. So love going to see Bubba. She was saying, I think her partner, let's call him Paul, is going to propose at your wedding and getting all excited. She kept saying how she wanted it to be a perfect proposal and we have the perfect venue. That is true. The venue is stunning. On the way home from seeing her, I was talking to my partner and said that I didn't want him to propose at the wedding, as we were already celebrating a wedding and my beautiful dad, and didn't want to take away from that. I reached out and tried to explain this to my bestie. Her reply, if you're going to be a bridezilla, I don't want to be a part of your rushed wedding. If you can't stand other people getting attention, you're really pathetic and need to get over yourself. Snip, snip, snip. Fuck her. Bro, someone says that shit to me about my wedding, about the biggest day of my life. Double middle fingers, get the fuck out of my life. It would be embarrassing to crawl to the parents and be like, y'all were right, but like, the parents were cooking. This girl sounds awful. Here, I will input. Partner and I have been together 4 years. Her and her partner have been together 1 year. Not that this is any sort of competition. Yeah, but 1 year? 1 year and then a proposal at a wedding just screams the most unhealthy relationship of all time. But here's where I may be the bridezilla / a-hole. My response, I'm truly sorry you feel like I've been a bridezilla / a-hole. I'm trying to be accommodating and free-willed as possible. You've had your choice of dress, shoes, hair, makeup, accessories, which were all paid for by me. And we have accommodated bringing your baby, which of course we would as we love you. You know I don't like major attention, but this is my family, my friends, and they're coming to our wedding. If you're so desperate for attention on you, perhaps it's best you're not there. I'm sorry that this didn't work out. I'm truly heartbroken, but this day needs to be perfect for my dad. Her last response, I didn't respond. Your dad's gonna die. He won't even be here to give a shit. Yo, someone says that shit about my parent, bro. I'm throwing hands. The fucking audacity of that one-liner is just, bro. I don't mind losing her over this, but I'm heartbroken and now thinking I may have been a bridezilla. Am I a bridezilla for caring about how my wedding goes? No. You're just somebody who wants to celebrate the most important day of their life and doesn't want that to be upended by someone proposing at a wedding. Bro, honestly, like, I'm going to a good friend's wedding in 2 weeks. I am a groomsman, not to suck my own dick. Someone proposes at his wedding, I am tackling them. I'm going to jail. Like, no way, bro. Normalize telling people like this that they're fucking stupid. Nobody's done it up to this point, but by God, does someone need to tell OP's ex-best friend, I guess. She's dumb. Bridezilla after what she said to your dad. After that, she already had evidence to why she wasn't the bridezilla. That was just icing on the cake. That was the cherry on top of like, bro, you are not a bridezilla. Give this woman a beat down. I've heard that people want to propose at weddings because it's an event where people who can't normally get together will all be at one place, but I don't get it. I also don't get that. Why do you want an audience for your proposal? Like, when I propose to someone, I want that shit to just be us. Intimate as fuck. Like, obviously maybe a photographer to like capture the moment or whatever. I'm not trying to make it into a huge spectacle for everybody to just see and clap at, you know? That's embarrassing. I just want that moment to be between me and her. You feel me? This transcribed screenshot is essentially what was communicated in this paragraph. So like, I guess it's just evidence that this is actually real. There is an edit on the same post, February 24th, 2025, 3 days later. I thought I'd update with a few common points. 1, I no longer want this girl in my life, let alone the wedding. She's a vile human being. 2, I have always been that one girl she gets at. I've never had much luck making friends, so I think that's why I've always accepted shitty treatment. 3, partner hates her and has hated her since they met. 4, I am gonna send a message and block. She's done. I'm not sure how to share screenshots, but I'll work it out. Drop her like she's hot, bro. I mean, I think it's a red flag if your parents didn't like her and your partner didn't like her. The call was coming from inside the house. You got to drop people like that, you know? Update post February 24th, 2025, same day as the edit, 3 days from the original post. As I'm sure you all expected, we have an update. He was going to leave her, not propose. So my partner and I reached out to him, asked him to meet in a neutral place. We chose the park near to his house. He agreed to meet us alone. Side note, we live about 2 hours apart since I moved out of my parents, and we moved to a different city. I travel most weekends to see my parents. I showed him the messages from the screenshots shown in my last post, and he was raging. Paul was so angry at what had been said, then turned to us and said, I actually wanted to leave her, but was waiting until after the wedding as to not ruin the day for you and your dad. We had a long chat. Paul and my partner have a lot in common, and he's always been lush to the both of us. We drove him home and left. Driving the 2 hours home, I felt relieved. I've never felt so stress-free. I had no one to try and please. And who needs an egg-sucking bridesmaid anyway? Paul rang when we got home. They've split up. She tried to deny the messages, but didn't delete them from her phone, so he knew it was true. He told her he was repulsed and was planning on leaving after she'd been unkind to his mom, also ill. Paul wants an amicable split with the baby, so we'll possibly be getting lawyers involved. My dad is over the moon. He's heartbroken that I've lost pretty much my only friend, but he's so glad she's gone. He's surviving day to day, and we're giving him the best we possibly can. We took him suit shopping, and he looks absolutely incredible. My mom hasn't gotten her dress yet, but we are having a special girly day out soon. Dresses, spa day, and just overall love. Major updates: 1, password with vendors. 2, Paul is still coming, either alone or with a friend or someone else. He deserves a break. 3, Paul is going to tell her parents, who are massively religious and massively strict and will not tolerate bullies. I mean, I don't think OP ever said how old they are, but at the probably old age that they're at, having to be told on by your parents is fucking crazy. When you have such shitty behavior as an adult that someone has to go tell your parent, that should be a wake-up call. Oh, we love karma, chat. We fucking love karma. How do you fucking mix that up? Like, how delulu do you have to be like, oh, my partner's gonna propose at your wedding, just to find out that dude is like, nah, bro, I was gonna fucking snip, snip, chop, chop that shit. Y'all, don't keep shitty people in your life. Please, please, please have the respect for yourself. Evaluate your friendships and really realize, like, do these people actually give a shit about me? Are they actually good friends? My daughter's school says I can't walk her to the building. This was posted in r/am I wrong? Original post, February 24th, 2025. Context: my wife works first shift and I work second. It's not ideal, but we make it work. Because of this, 3 or so days a week, I drop my daughter off, 6-year-old, at school. She loves when I drop her off, but every time it's time to get out, she gets so sad and seems like she wants to cry. She has seen some other parents from time to time walking their kids up to the school and always talked about how she thought it was cool. So I figured, hey, when I take her to school, I'll park and we'll walk up together. She absolutely loved it. She's smiling and laughing and didn't even look sad, so I decided to do that from then on. It continued every time I dropped her for maybe 4 weeks now, and today, earlier this afternoon, my wife got a phone call from the school stating that I was violating school policy, and I am no longer allowed to walk her up to the front anymore. Now, I'm not that kind of dude to go off and cause a scene, and honestly, most of the time when things like this pop up, I just say fuck it and move on, but this one is kind of bugging me. I'm not hurting anyone. When we walk up, we're out of the way of traffic and buses. I can't for the life of me think of a legitimate reason why this isn't okay. I will admit, my understanding and familiarity with school policies is lacking, so I may just not be seeing the full picture. Tomorrow, I'm dropping my daughter off again, debating going inside and firmly figuring out what's the deal. Would I be wrong if I tried to fight this, or should I let it go? I feel like we're missing context here. Like, why can other parents walk their kid up to the school, but OP can't? I don't really understand it. Edit, I guess. I'm Reddit stupid and on my phone. Figured I may as well add some stuff since I keep seeing it repeated. Yes, I have seen the other parents walk their kids up personally. I only mentioned my daughter seeing them because I thought it was relevant. Reading the policy/visiting the website. At the beginning of the year, they had us sign a paper that asked whether she was going to ride the bus or be picked up, what time school starts, what time they are considered tardy, and what time school lets out. That's it. As for their website, I spent my whole lunch break at work looking through that thing. I found their school policies tab and nothing about walking your kid up to the building. I even went onto the website for the whole school system for our county. Nothing. Question that keeps coming up: am I parking in the car rider area / blocking other people? No, I am not. There's open parking all along the track field beside the school on the main road. That's where I park. I'm not going to go in there and blow up like some boomer Karen at Walgreens. I'm not. If anyone did that, it would be my wife. I don't even complain when a restaurant gets my order wrong. And me asking if I should fight this wasn't me implying I plan to put on war paint and call the banners. I meant I was going to actually ask what the issue is and find out what's up with the situation firsthand, other than my usual, oh well. Did I call first? Yes. They said someone could discuss it with me tomorrow after drop-off if I'd like. I made this post to ask if I should even bother or just accept it and move on. It's a safety policy. That's a good point. And honestly, it didn't cross my mind. It did not occur to me that her and I walking up from the side of the building to the front with my daughter to the sidewalk about 10 yards from the front doors with her Hello Kitty backpack would be unsafe. Okay, was that sarcastic or serious? I genuinely can't tell. Does her mom walk her up? No, she doesn't do the sad thing with her when she gets out. They spend a lot more time together during the week, so I think they're both glad for the break from each other. Last thing, I really do not care about waiting in line. I'm not in a rush. The only reason this post happened is because my daughter loves it. She thinks it's cool and I like making her happy. I work second shift and we don't get to see each other a lot during the week. If any conversation happens at this school about all of this, it will be civil and polite. As I said before, I'm not a screaming Karen. I don't want any animosity at the school. I've met her principals and teachers, and they're nice people. Regardless of how I feel about it, though, I'm going to abide by their decision. It's their house and they make the rules, no hard feelings. Again, though, thanks for your replies. I appreciate it, even the mean and negative ones. Try to be less pedantic. You'll be happier. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. I think it's worth going to the meeting. Like, if this is something that means the world to your daughter, like, yeah, do your best to try to make it happen. Don't go nuclear over it. And it sounds like that wasn't even his plan. He was just kind of like, is this worth even fighting for? Is this like a common practice? Which, like, I'm trying to think, chat, is this common practice? Like, I'm just trying to recall on my memory of things. And like, from what I remember, if my parent wanted to walk me into school, they could. And I don't really understand how that's like a safety concern. How old is this kid again? 6 years old. Dude, I have a 6-year-old kid. Like, I kind of want to walk them into school. I feel like it's kind of a fun time as a parent, but also that kid's fucking 6, man. Like, I want to make sure they get in the door, they get in the school, and they're safe. Elementary schools in my area do not allow parents close to the front door in the morning / after school. The only time parents are allowed to go to the door is if they sign in at the office. Damn, has shit changed? Like, what is the reasoning on that? It's for student safety because of all the horrible things that have happened at elementary schools. Listen, I get it, like child safety. In theory, I guess someone could use this as a ruse to like kidnap kids, but I'm thinking I have a 6-year-old kid that I love and I want to give them the best experience possible. And I also care about their safety. Like, I want the ability to just walk them up to the front of the school just to make sure they like get in and I can watch them go in. Why are the parents allowed to do it, but he's not? I think they probably are just cracking down on all the parents is what I'm assuming. Predators are bold these days. They don't need to be sneaky anymore. They just need to be fast. My kids will most certainly be walked to the door and I'd for sure kick up shit if I was told not to. That's kind of how I feel, bro. I understand if they're trying to prioritize children's safety, but with how underfunded our schools are and how usually there is an insane ratio between kids and students, me personally, I don't want to leave it up to the teachers to make sure that my kid goes in that school safely, especially at the age of 6. Maybe once they're past the age of like 12. It's not cool anymore anyways for them. Fine, let's leave it up to the teachers, whatever. At that point, it's like teaching them, hey, don't go off with strangers when you go to school. But like when they're 6, bro, I want to watch my kid go into that school. I do not trust some teacher who's underpaid, probably hungover from going out the night before. Like, I don't want to put the fate of my kid on them. And like, I don't know, maybe I'm not a great person to ask about this because like I don't have kids. I don't know very much about the school system, but just my intuition, I don't think it's fair to not be able to walk my kid to the front of the school and watch them walk in. If anything, that takes more pressure off of teachers. All they have to do is stand there and make sure parents aren't going in. And then they can also start identifying like, hey, that's a normal parent. That's a normal parent. Okay, that's a random dude who doesn't look like he has a kid with him. First update, February 25th, 2025, the next day. This morning, I talked with my daughter about the situation and explained that we probably won't be able to do it anymore. She understood. We're brainstorming ideas to make our mornings together more special. I had the meeting with the principal this morning as well. We waited for all of the other car riders and buses to disperse, then parked in front of the school and came inside. It was fairly uneventful and very polite and pleasant. He explained that there was no official policy as of right now, but last week during pickup, a student took off running and almost got hit so they're in the works of implementing it. I didn't know about the almost incident because I'm at work by that time, and my wife didn't know because she gets there pretty early to be towards the front of the line. It seems reasonable, and that's that. It was cool while it lasted, though. Like I said earlier, we're thinking of something cool to replace it. I already leave her notes or funny drawings on her doodle pad for when she gets home, so we'll think of something. Last week during pickup, a student took off running and almost got hit. I mean, wouldn't the solution to that be making parents hold their kids' hands and walk them up to the front? So staff wasn't being vigilant with the children, so it's not the parents. I'm thinking like my teachers, like, yes, they're there to teach me and they're there to keep me as safe as possible, but at a certain point, like, you can't expect one person to be able to keep an eye on like 20 to 30 children at the time, and especially at something as chaotic as drop off. That's why I'm honestly pro like parents being in charge of making sure their kids get into school, because like the teachers are, like I said, very underfunded, underpaid. They're focused on teaching. Like, why should they also kind of have to be babysitters too? The kid taking off running and almost getting hit by a car, that's not on the school. That's on the parent of that child. I don't know. Maybe I just have like a kind of flawed understanding of the role of teachers and administration at schools, but I think that's a parenting problem. These things seem entirely unrelated. A child running off into the road has nothing to do with a parent walking to the building to drop off their kid. To me, that's the solution. Oh, hey, this kid ran off into the road while they were probably hopping out of their car. Oh, let's have the parents walk their kids up to like make them responsible to make sure their kids don't run out in the street. In an ideal world, it would be on the parents, but there's already such a backlash when the school system tries to tell parents how to do their jobs. That's so dog shit to me. If you're a parent and you really think like, oh, not only is school to teach my kid, but also to like take care of my kid, I'm like, bro, that's on you, man. Those are probably the same like iPad parents. We do have a single top comment that doesn't make a lot of sense though. A kid took off and almost got hit. So wouldn't it make sense that having parents walk their kids to the front door be more responsible? See them go in instead of dropping them off around the corner? Or is there a specific drop-off area with teachers? And then somebody replied to that comment, probably more about the amount of people coming in and out and not knowing if a student is under a parent's watch or the school's. To be honest, at my kid's school, I see the most dangerous behaviors from students when there's an event where parents are supposed to be managing their own kids on campus. But since they're on campus, they assume staff are managing even when there's info saying they aren't doing that. It gets hectic. I can understand why they would minimize that and the amount of people going in and out of the building. It's just safety. I understand the argument. It's a little ridiculous to me, but I get it. Update 2, February 26, 2025, next day, 2 days after original post. Didn't expect to make another update, but I just got off the phone with an administrator at the school. I can walk my kid to the door. Apparently they had their school counseling meeting or something like that, and a lot of people brought up some of the points you guys did about how it makes no sense and relevancy and whatnot. Also, as some kind of speculated at, it was another parent who also works at the school who complained. The lady I talked to on the phone said she couldn't go into specifics, but the complainer basically said, "I don't like that," and used the almost incident with that runner kid as an excuse. It's my wife's turn to take my daughter tomorrow, but I'm going to take her the rest of the week and walk her up both days. It's not a big deal, but it feels nice to win one. I really hope there's a world where if I have kids, I can walk them up to school. Because like, I think that's fun as a parent. In my opinion, it's like, as soon as the kid goes through the gates of the school, your child's safety really is on the school. But everything leading up to that is on you. Shit, for me, especially at 6 years old, I don't want to drop off my kid. I want to walk them in, say goodbye, give them a little kiss on the head or whatever, send them off to school, make sure they're in the gates safe. Because then I did my job. I understand the safety argument. Like, if you're really concerned about parents being there who shouldn't be there, make parents sign up to have like a lanyard with their name on it or something like that they have to wear when they do pick up and drop off. And anybody not wearing a lanyard has to yoink and get out of there. To me, that's the solution there. Not let's go nuclear and like take away the opportunity for you to oversee the safety of your own kid. I am not accepting my wrestling/academic scholarship to a university since my girlfriend didn't get in. My dad says I can't have my 529 money they saved for me. He's so mad. What can I do? We have an 18 male OP and an 18 female girlfriend. Original post, April 15th, 2018. My household is in chaos over the news I dropped on Saturday, and I don't think my parents have ever been this mad, so I really need help. The basics are, I got a wrestling and academic scholarship to a D1 school that's about an 8-hour drive away. I've wrestled since I was 4 and got straight A's since middle school, and I'm proud of both of my scholarships. My athletic scholarship is not full ride, but with the academic add-on, it would mean I could get a 4-year education with almost no cost. My parents saved about $50,000 in a 529 plan, and my parents were so proud of me. They said if I made it through the first year of college with good grades and impressed my coaches, I could have the 529 money to live off of or invest or whatever is acceptable with taxes. Now it comes to my girlfriend. I love her more than I can say. I mean, she is literally my world, and I can't imagine my life without her. She is my soulmate, and we are all but officially engaged at this point. Bro, you guys are 18. Like, chill. First, we thought we could do the long distance thing, but there's no way. So she did a late reach application to my university, but got denied. We got the news on Friday. Without even thinking about it, I said I'd turn down the scholarship and stay with her at the more local state school. For her part, at first, she was mad at me for not wanting to follow my wrestling dreams, and she was fearful I'm throwing everything away for her. And she promised me that we could make an 8-hour distance work if it was meant to be, but after some convincing, she agreed. I sat my parents down on Saturday morning and told them that I was turning the scholarship down and would need the money from the 529 plan. They exploded, and I mean exploded at me. I've never really been in trouble, so I didn't even realize they could get so mad or be so disappointed in me. We argued basically all day Saturday, and before they got so frustrated, they went and stayed in a hotel to not have to see me. They said the bottom line is basically the 529 money is mine to do what I want with, but they are not supporting stupidity. So I have to work and pay for my first year of college 100%. And if I maintain a C average while working part-time, then I can have the money. I guess their argument is they now question my dedication to school and don't want the money to just go down the drain. This is so unfair because the money was saved for school and it's not like I'm not going. I already have acceptance to our state school, and what's important is the education, not how I get there. My parents are mad because they know I love wrestling. And they spent a ton of time and money as I was growing up to get me to the top levels. But with MMA being so popular these days, I can use my skills professionally if I want. To me, everything is good, and there's no reason to freak out and deny me the money. Dude, I don't know if you've ever seen MMA, but you can't just walk onto that shit. Don't get me wrong, wrestling helps, but like, if you've never done any type of striking or kicking, like, you are at a severe disadvantage. You can't just walk up and be like, I used to wrestle, let me go get the belt. Like, what? What can I do in this situation? How do I convince them that the fair thing to do is let me have my 529 money, which is what it's intended for? I know legally at the age of 18, you are an adult, but genuinely, this is most 18-year-olds right here. They are still fucking children making fucking children decisions, and they need oversight. They are not adults. They are becoming an adult, and they still need guidance. They still need people to sit there and tell them you are fucking up your life, just like this guy is. When you are graduating high school, to turn down a full tuition scholarship for a girl is ridiculous. I'm sorry if there's a high schooler in here who is dating their soulmate and love of their life, and sure, it might work out, but odds are it's not. And even if it does, you need to prioritize what's going to set you up better in life. Exhibit A, you get your college paid for you, and you literally have $50,000 to help put you ahead in life. Whether you invest it, you put a down payment on a house, whatever, having $50,000 is always a fantastic advantage. On the flip side, you stay in the state school, have to use all, if not more than, the $50,000 to pay for college, and now you're in debt, and hey, there's not even a guarantee that you and this girlfriend are going to work out. I genuinely don't think 18-year-olds should be making big decisions about going into debt because they don't realize how much they could fuck themselves over, bro. OP added this edit that said, as if my life couldn't suck more, my girlfriend called and her parents convinced her that anyone willing to throw away their future for a high school relationship is someone she needs to step away from. So we are officially on a break. Literally, what the fuck? I don't disagree. I think that is the dumbest shit you could ever do. They say, I give you full tuition, you just need to jump. You say, how high? I got married to my high school sweetheart. We've been married to 18 years. I tell all my teen clients not to get married. Giving up free school is so stupid, her parents rock. If you're young or fresh into a relationship, making a big change for someone is kind of a red flag. At least for me, like, I want someone who has the self-respect to be like, you got to do you and I support that, but I got to do me. Even if that means that we're long distance for a time, we'll try it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Someone commented, you're doing a big fucking mistake. What are you thinking? Don't piss on your future for some girl. If she can't follow you, that's on her. Don't sacrifice so much because she can't go. You'll regret this and resent her, especially the day she'll dump you. Because let's be frank, high school relationships don't last and she'll dump you eventually, or you will. OOP, because let's be frank, high school relationships don't last and she'll dump you eventually, or you will. I know everyone says this, but our relationship is truly different. Even my parents love her and hope we stay together. If your relationship is truly different, you guys can do long distance. I genuinely believe that. OOP dropped an update where the title was basically a reiteration of what we've already read, but at the end they included, bottom line, I'm taking the scholarship, but we're broken up. Posted on April 20th, 2018, about 5 days after the original post. So like I said in the original, that was Saturday. In the middle of the post, my girlfriend called and said she had to talk. Basically what had happened is my parents had called her parents. They're pretty close friends in their own right. And her parents sat her down and basically convinced her that my decision was not good for either of us. So she was breaking up with me. She said that she could never live with the guilt of me not taking my scholarships and that I had to take them to have any chance of things working out with her. I had the worst weekend of my life because I didn't have my girlfriend anymore. Basically, I begged her on Monday to get back together with me, and she said she just needed time. I have no idea what this means because everything was so cool with us last week, but this week, broken up. Can someone please explain how this makes sense? I have no idea. I have an idea. It's called her parents and your parents are cooking, and you are not. I'm trying my best to leave her alone, but it's so hard, and I've even heard rumors that a guy she used to date before me is driving her to a party tonight. Like, literally have no idea what to make of that. This is pain almost unbearable, but our relationship is truly different. Come on, my boy. So to the part that probably everyone cares about, since I'd never notified my scholarship school that I wasn't coming, everything is still on track for me to show up in June for unofficial workouts. So I'm still going to accept my scholarship and everything will move forward as if nothing ever happened as far as that goes. So that's my update. Thanks for everyone being so honest with me. And I realize I pretty much still don't want to hear the truth that this is the best for me because I'm so hurt over not being with my girlfriend anymore. I want bro to come back and update this shit because that is insane. If you are in high school, even if you're graduating college, don't let a significant other dictate your life. At the age of 18, that applies. And I think at the age of 22, if you're stereotypically graduating college, you should not let significant others dictate the direction of your life like that. Because like people were saying, it harbors resentment on both sides. It's not healthy for any relationship, and it also just like shouldn't be how you operate. That is a complication in life that your relationship is creating. Relationships should complement your life. My daughter wants me to rename her. Originally posted in r/name nerds, and the original post was on March 5th, 2025. I didn't even know this subreddit existed. My 18-year-old daughter came out as a transgender woman. My husband and I have been 100% supportive, and I very much welcome another girl in the house. She has 3 brothers. She expressed initially that she was comfortable going by her birth name as it is gender neutral. But after turning 18 and getting ready for college, she's decided she needs a new name, and she wants me to choose it. She says that she still wants to be named by her mama. I melted. I come seeking ideas. Her only parameter is that it's nothing that seems like she renamed herself. By this, I'm assuming more out there names are out. It's such a challenge picking a name for someone you already know so well and not a newborn. She's incredibly intelligent, bookish, shy, but spunky, and a total sweetheart. Gorgeous, curly red hair and freckles. We are a family of Jewish-Irish descent, and her brothers are Lev, Raphael, Raph, and Elias. I never had girl names picked out, as I found out later in the game. Do any names come to mind with this description? Her middle name will be Miriam, family name. Thank you in advance. Okay, first off, fucking wholesome and so cute. Let's fucking go. What are some good girl names? Drop them in chat right now. Eden, I actually do like Eden. Esther, not a fan. Pippi, I feel like Pippi might be in that a little out there. Just because you don't meet a ton of people with the name Pippi. Freya, I think Freya is a cute name. Lilith, maybe not Lilith. I kind of want to just keep going. I'm guessing this is just like one of those wholesome stories you have to like get through. Some of OOP's comments. Commenter, did you have any baby names picked out for a girl when you were pregnant with your boys? Personally, I love traditional names. I'd go with something along the lines of Ruth, Rachel, or Anna. Wanting to be named by her mama, that really made my day. OOP, I did not. I found out about my pregnancies fairly late into the game, so it was never really a question. Commenter said, Eliana, this whole situation is so sweet. Happy for you and her. OOP, I love this name, would be one of my top contenders, if not so similar to her brothers. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Commenter, did not seem like she renamed herself. I would suggest names that are ranking in the year she was born. Suggestions: Alicia, Caitlin, Callie, Kira, Phoebe, Nadia, and Natalie. Okay, big fan of Phoebe. This could be totally wrong, chat, but I feel like every Kira that I name, and I'm not saying that it's like only exclusive black person name. This might just be my experience around it, but I feel like I've only met Kiras who are black, so I don't know if that is like disrespectful or something like that. Is that the case, guys? Is that just like a very unique thing that I've experienced, or is that maybe not something you name a white person? Keira Knightley, is that a white person? Okay, it is a white person. Oh, this is Pirates of the Caribbean girl. I'm definitely wrong then. I don't know why, guys. I've never met a white Kira. White people might spell it Kyra. Actually, I think I've met a white Kyra. Let's all rename ourselves. Fuck it. Let's do it. My whole chat changed their names. Not clickbait. I think my favorite out of this list is Phoebe. Phoebe is such a good name. OOP, good thinking. Kira is lovely. Commenter said Rebecca. OOP, Rebecca is taken by me. Otherwise, it would be a fantastic suggestion. Commenter, Leah, Elizabeth, Eliza. Really like this one. Anna, Delilah, Eve. OOP, Eliza is lovely. Thank you. Commenter, this is so incredibly wholesome. I intentionally chose my son's name to be gender neutral, both because I love gender neutral names, but I also wanted to make sure the option to keep his name what it is would still be there should he ever come out as trans. Had my son been a girl, his name might have stayed the same that it is right now. However, I really love Julian August and would have been on the fence about using it instead. I guess I could have used it for him anyway, but something about Julian as a girl's name just seems prettier to me. I don't know. I'm also a big fan of Lillian, Elaine, Meredith, Margot, Tegan, Parker, and Chandler. Just to name a few, LOL. Picking baby names is my favorite pastime, even though your baby isn't exactly a baby anymore. LOL. Again, I can't say enough how much I love this post and the sentiment behind it. Your family sounds so full of love. If you've got room for another daughter, I went no contact with my parents years ago and I'm free to a good home. OOP, there's always room, sweetheart. Dinner's at 7 and Lillian is lovely. I really like Tegan as a girl's name, I think. Lillian isn't bad. Lily's a good name too. So the most awarded comment said this: how incredibly touching. 1. Naomi Miriam, a timeless Hebrew name meaning pleasantness. 2. Esther Miriam, a strong classic Jewish name with historical significance. 3. Clara Miriam, a bookish vintage name that feels sophisticated yet warm. 4. Maeve Miriam, a beautiful Irish name meaning intoxicating with a strong history. 5. Talia Miriam, a lovely Hebrew name meaning gentle dew from heaven. 6. Fiona Miriam, an Irish name meaning fair, fitting her red hair and freckles. 7. Sylvie Miriam, a delicate yet intelligent sounding name of French and Jewish origin. 8. Daphne Miriam, a literary and nature-inspired name with a graceful touch. 9. Lena Miriam, simple, elegant, and effortlessly classic. OOP, wow, what amazing suggestions. Sylvie is gorgeous, as is the rest of your list. I like Lena, Daphne, Sylvia, and Maeve. I fuck with all 4 of those names, bro. Oh my God. I'm kind of excited for the update, y'all. Update post March 14th, 2025, 9 days later. Let's preface this by saying that this will be long and mushy. I took this very, very seriously and would love to share the experience. Feel free to skip to the bottom for the name reveal, sharing with her full blessing. First of all, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the outpouring of support. The love far outweighed the hate, and we were absolutely awestruck by the support. I still have quite a few private messages to get through, but please know that I will read each and every one of them and do my best to respond. I got quite a few comments asking why I would post to Reddit when my daughter asked me to name her. The answer is that I'm simply not a very creative person, and trying to come up with a name from scratch is so hard. I haven't named a baby in 16 years, and we have an enormous family, i.e., difficult to think of names that we love and aren't taken. I came here for inspiration and received more than I could have ever wished for. That's such a weird question. Like, don't people literally fucking like buy baby book names and like Google search baby names? Like, I don't see anything wrong with crowdsourcing a baby name. Going about choosing was incredibly difficult, but I eventually got my list down to top 3. They needed to pass a few tests. 1, does the name suit her? 2, would 2006 me have chosen this name? 3, does it sound out of whack with her brother's names? And most importantly, does she love it? I brought the top 3 to her and she said, Mom, this is defeating the purpose. I don't want to choose. So I had another idea. We would have 3 little coffee/lunch dates around the city and use a different name to order with so she could feel each name out and see if any of them were definite no's. That ruled out Talia. Gorgeous name, but didn't feel quite right to her. Aviva was also a top contender that didn't make the cut. I mulled over the final 2 for what seemed like years, but I chose, and she expressed that it was secretly her favorite too. It felt like divine intervention to be in this situation, considering this name with Purim so close. Oh, wait, is Purim a holiday, guys? I genuinely don't know. It's a Jewish holiday. Thank you, Niche Pastiche. I'm the incredibly proud mama of Esther Miriam. I absolutely love it, and so does she. Essie May evolved as a nickname from her father overnight, and it made me fall in love even more. May was the nickname of her namesake, and she happens to be a May baby. Esther also has immense meaning to us as Jews, and I can absolutely say that 2006 me would have chosen it. The runner-up was Naomi. Oh, Naomi's such a great name too. Oh my goodness. I could not have done it without this forum. Thank you all very much for sharing this with me. What a fucking great story. I know we come here for the drama, which is fun. Don't get me wrong. We love a good dramatic story, but the wholesome ones just hit. They just hit because I feel like they're definitely less than the drama-filled ones, but by God are they appreciated. And especially one like this. Like, we need more acceptance and family like this. If that's your whole ass kid, that's your crotch goblin, you should support them no matter what gender they want to be. It's as simple as that. Like, it's really not that big of a deal, but people make it such a fucking big deal. For what? Fucking why? What do I say to my boyfriend who doesn't seem to realize he's just broken up with me? We have a 45 female OP and a 44 male boyfriend. This was originally posted in r/relationship advice, February 23rd, 2025. I've been dating my boyfriend for about a year. When I met him, he had separated from his wife and they were going through a divorce 8 months after separation. I don't usually date men who are only separated, but we just clicked. One thing I've asked from the beginning is whether or not he wants to have more kids, because I'm child-free for medical reasons. He always said he wasn't bothered either way. The relationship with his children is very strained and they don't like going to see him. Little itty bitty of a red flag here. Now the divorce is complete. I've warned him that he'll spiral, having had friends go through the same thing, which is usually why I don't date men in this period. But he was adamant he was going to be fine. He isn't. He's totally spiraling. I've suggested that he go back to therapy, but he doesn't want to. I said not to just have these thoughts and feelings swirling around in his head and to talk if he needs to. He started talking to me about his feelings, and one of them is that he wants to have more kids. Now he said this in a stream of consciousness in a voice note. I'm on the waiting list for a hysterectomy. He's still texting as normal. How do I confront this? He doesn't really have anyone else to talk to. However, our relationship is basically over in my head now. So he didn't break up with you, but he brought out a deal breaker that you guys had previously discussed. And so you're the one who's going to decide that this is a breakup. This is fucking messy. I know Reddit hates ultimatums, but I do think this is one of those situations where if you want to try to salvage this relationship, you need to have the ultimatum of like, if you still want to be with me and want to like grapple those thoughts, you need to go to therapy or we're breaking up on the spot. But I will say, it sounds like she kind of made up her mind. And also, guys, I don't know why. This is just a gut feeling. I don't know if there's exact evidence for this, but I'm getting a bad vibe from this boyfriend. Don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I have any logical reasoning for it other than my gut is like, I don't fuck with this guy. Ooh, the vibes are rancid. He wants kids, but not the kids he already has. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, the kid's not fucking with him and him not wanting to make an effort to like make amends with them. That doesn't sit well with me. He probably wants a do-over and that's not her problem. That sounds about right here. I think bro is going through a fucking crisis and in his head he wants a do-over of having kids. I think we're all on the same page. We don't fuck with the boyfriend. He needs to sort out his feelings and OP should not be caught in the crossfire. A couple of OP's comments here. I'm on the topic of the strained relationship with his kids/therapy. OP, so the relationship with his kids seemed awesome when we met. Then as the divorce arrangements picked up steam, they started having a bit more attitude and asking questions about finances that I wouldn't expect from children. When I met, he was in therapy, so I'm baffled as to why he's so against it now. It was actually one of the reasons I decided to see where this goes. We've had very frank discussions about the breakdowns of his marriage, and he's accepted what he believes is his part. And being from the same place as his wife, I could see things I would also find hard to deal with. Getting an outside view would be hard because his family are on his side. He's staying with his sister, and they have been arguing because when his kids are being rude, She's trying to correct them and he's asking her not to. So there was a little bit of a switch up in terms of his relationship with the kids. Also a switch up on being open about therapy. You know what? I wish OP would have elaborated more on this paragraph. It has a lot of extra information, but it doesn't really go into the detail of it. All right, here's like a tiny update. Commenter said, could it have been a statement made in a spiral? Is it possible that the emotional complexities are deeper than a metaphorical shot across the bow? OOP responded to that saying, I believe it was because I got another text this morning saying that he doesn't want to have any more now. Okay, this is a good clarification. Does he realize that you actually don't want any kids? OP, oh yes, it is one of the first things I ask so as not to waste time. With my medical conditions, I wouldn't adopt. It wouldn't be fair. To another commenter, they said, I have other health conditions and I don't think it'd be fair for children to have a parent who they will end up having to look after. I was that child and that isn't a childhood. Honestly, WOP, that is a very considerate thought process when going about having kids that I feel like a lot of people don't have. OP replied to a longer comment. Honestly, up until yesterday, his values aligned with mine. We had very frank and open discussions about the breakdown of his marriage and how he contributed to that. He was in therapy. His visits with his kids were, from his description, great. He always put them first and ensures he plans something they both enjoy as they both enjoy different things. I've had some health issues and he's taken care of me, challenged me to get up and about again. He's also thoughtful. He's not perfect by any means, but I do enjoy his company. As the divorce arrangements started to get hashed out, his children started asking questions that you wouldn't hear from a child. His ex asked him not to discuss anything with them, but the questions showed they were hearing something from somewhere. That's not descriptive enough. I need to know the questions, honestly. Like, why are these kids mad at him is very important to understanding this guy's character. Because honestly, a lot of the extra information that OOP's added makes me think that he is spiraling. Maybe he's like somewhat of a good dude, but the side of the fence I hop on is really dependent on his relationship with his kids. There are instances where the kids are the reason for the rift between parent and child. Not saying that that's a good reason for him to completely give up on them, but I at least want to know what the actual situation is. When the eldest said he was horrible for just walking out without saying goodbye, he corrected her and said it didn't happen that way. Obviously, they went back and asked their mom because she ripped into him and then didn't let him see them for 3 weeks. Then their attitude started changing. Now, I'm well aware I'm only hearing one side, but the difference between the visits even up to 6 months ago and now are very stark. What did it say up here? The relationship with his children is very strained and they don't like going to see him. I think it's at least worth the conversation, but if he's not willing to get back in therapy, I think you should just cut your losses. I mean, this sounds so messy, chat. And I also low-key think it would probably be a good thing for him not to jump straight back into a relationship. Like, focus on healing yourself after this divorce. Focus on trying to like at least getting your relationship with your kids to like a amicable level or acceptable level even. Like, I'm all about finding the person that you love and want to live your life with, but I also think at a certain point, like, homeboy's got to take care of himself and worry about processing his feelings of a divorce before he can handle a relationship. Seems like it happened during the divorce. I could see a few things going on. Maybe the dad did something shitty that caused the divorce that OP doesn't know about. Maybe the mom is saying a bunch of stuff about their dad / feeding them false info. Maybe they're struggling with the divorce and him moving on so fast. I just feel like this story could go either way. Like, this dude is actually a fucking terrible dad and is probably going to be a terrible boyfriend and partner to OP, or maybe there's other stuff going on and the boyfriend actually isn't as bad as we think he is, and he's just severely going through a crisis as anybody would when they're going through divorce. Update post March 12th, 2025. To those who never saw my replies and have the same questions, his kids were happy to see him when we met, but as the divorce became more acrimonious, they started to say things that, in my mind, children wouldn't typically say. If he had said anything about his children not wanting to see him when we first started dating, that would have been a red flag for me. Helping a friend through a divorce and listening to them go through various ideas is very different to the person you see doing it, especially when they are talking about things that means the end of the relationship. Anyway, onto the update. We met up and I asked him if he was aware that he said he thinks he wants to have more kids. He said, yes, it's a possibility. I said, you're aware that I'm on the waiting list for a hysterectomy? He said, yes. I said, so you're aware that this essentially means we're over? He said, it doesn't have to mean that. We could continue to see each other until I make up my mind. People, I nearly fell off my chair. I stared at him and realized that he actually never knew me at all. Anyone who knows me knows I would never put up with this foolishness. I actually laughed and said, you want me to continue to see you while you decide whether or not you want kids? And then if you do, I should just meekly walk away. Does that sound like that's fair? He said no, but he loves being with me and he doesn't want to lose me. I told him I was lost the minute he told me he might want more kids. I said I appreciate him telling me the truth, but the consequences of that means we're over. I told him what I'd have told a friend. Sort out your relationship with the children you have before making new ones, and gave him a book on that subject. I left and cried. I'm going to miss him a lot. He's been texting, but I may block him soon. I mean, that's tough, but I think OP made the right decision here. Not only for OP, but also for him. Like, dude needs to be alone and like process his shit for real. Honestly, good on her for not falling for the like, oh, well, we could still see each other like while I'm deciding. It's very easy to fall into that, but I think she's right. Like, you can't be waiting around for that. You can't keep building the feelings around a relationship. That makes it even harder to leave when like there's a possibility that there's a deal breaker that would end the relationship. I think that's a waste of everybody's time. Also, here's my sweet, handsome man drinking water. Bro, slurping that shit up. Is that not the handsomest boy you ever did see, chat? I am struggling to rebuild my self-worth after my ex-fiancé left me for a woman who seems to be a younger, smarter, prettier, and better version of myself. Original post, October 24th, 2019. Hi guys, I know it's probably hard to believe given how nauseatingly pathetic I sound right now, but before this happened, I really felt like a confident and content human being. Almost all of my current friends are mutual friends with my ex-fiancé, so I don't want to embroil them in this drama or compel anyone to choose sides or feel uncomfortable. So I guess I'm trying to turn to this community for solace and guidance because I've read a great deal of mature and grounded advice here. I hope this sounds somewhat coherent as I've currently locked myself in a conference room and shut the blinds so no one can see me cry as I type this. I was with my ex-fiancé for 7 years. He is the only romantic partner I've ever truly loved. I was completely head over heels in love with him. Even now, after all this, I still feel that way about him. He is charming, goofy, kind, quick-witted, interesting, ambitious, and gorgeous. We got engaged 2 years ago, but we were not in a rush to get married. About a year ago, we began to seriously contemplate trying for a baby. We had lived together happily for 6 years. We had done all the traveling and partying we wanted to do in our 20s, and we were excited to start our family. Over the next 6 months, he was much busier than normal, but I didn't think anything was wrong. I did my best to alleviate any extra stress he had, though I was experiencing some extra pressure at work too, by taking over all the housework and errands, helping him organize and pack for trips, and just being understanding when he would work very late or need to leave for a week or two. We didn't spend as much time together during that period, and I missed him a lot, but I thought we were still happy. When the 6 months were over, our schedules reverted back to normal. I felt relieved until I started noticing him becoming more distant, despite the fact that we finally had more time together. He started going on his phone more frequently when we were together and seemed to be more protective of his phone. I'm not generally a jealous person, and I trusted him completely, so I didn't think much of it. Then one day, after another month had passed, I brought up the topic of trying for a baby as we discussed. I could immediately tell something was wrong. He was quiet for a while, and then he unleashed a flood. He said he was unhappy with our relationship and had been for some time. He said that he cared about me deeply, but that the spark in our relationship had died, and that he had tried to convince himself that he could live without that spark, but had ultimately decided that he couldn't. He said I had done nothing wrong, and in fact was the perfect partner, but that didn't change the fact that he couldn't shake this nagging feeling that I wasn't the one for him. He said that he didn't want to hurt me, but that he couldn't condemn himself to a lifetime of settling for someone that wasn't even his dream girl, even though he didn't know if his dream girl existed. He said he was sorry, but he couldn't live a lie anymore. I don't think I said a single word as he was telling me all this because I just felt so utterly shocked and blindsided. I just stood there staring and listening and crying silently. When he finished, all I could utter was something like, "Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Do you still love me?" He paused for a while and then said that he loved me, but he wasn't in love with me anymore. We proceeded to spend the whole night discussing his feelings in our relationship until we were both so exhausted we couldn't cry anymore and the sun was coming up. He said he was sorry again and it was probably best if he stayed at a friend's place, so he packed up some stuff and left. That was about 5 months ago. We never really talked in person again. His brother and his best friend came over that weekend to get the rest of his stuff, and I just left while they were packing because I couldn't stand to be there. I felt so shocked and numb and traumatized and tired that I didn't even cry much. I couldn't even process what was happening as I went through the motions of moving out and explaining the situation to my family. When I finally moved into my new place and sat alone with my boxes, I completely broke down. I could not stop crying and dry heaving. I ended up using 5 vacation days to take off a week of work, which really irked my manager. I could not get out of bed. I barely ate, living off this old tub of peanut butter. I looked through our old pictures and tried to figure out where it all went wrong. Then for 4 months, I tried my best to move on. I deleted all my social media apps so I wouldn't have to see him. I dove into work. I ramped up my hobbies. I exercised to keep my mind occupied. I met with friends and family and pretended everything was okay. I started going to my therapist again, which helped a bit. I finally thought I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. Then a month ago, I ran into a mutual friend from college. She said she was really sad to see we weren't together anymore and surprising to see he'd moved on so fast. I told her I wasn't keeping up with him anymore, but that I was doing okay. When I got home, even though I knew it was a terrible idea, I re-downloaded Instagram and went to his profile. His latest picture was him at his cousin's wedding with his arm around a gorgeous girl. All the old pictures of him and I were gone from his profile. Again, I knew it was a terrible, self-destructive idea, but I went to the girl's profile and Googled her. She is literally a younger, smarter, prettier, and better version of myself. We both studied at the same university, but she completed a prestigious program which I was rejected from. We both have green eyes and brown hair, but she is far prettier and legitimately looks like a model. We are both thin and fit, but she has an amazing hourglass figure and looks far more stylish than me and has tens of thousands of followers, even though she's not an influencer or whatnot. In fact, we both work at the same company. I'm pretty sure my ex met her through work, but she landed a job in a prestigious division right out of undergrad and likely makes more money than me. She is an improved version of me, 7 years younger, and the love of my life is dating her. For the past month, I've been spiraling. I can't stop stalking my ex-fiancé and this girl. I look at her Instagram every day and torture myself with her gorgeous pictures. She's posted a dozen pictures with my ex over the past few months, and he looks so happy, healthy, and fit. They've gone on trips together. He's brought her to his hometown, and he's even posted a picture of them with a mushy caption, which he never did when we were together. I have no evidence, and I don't think my ex would do this, but I now suspect he was at least interested in her while we were still together. She started at the company about a year ago. I'm so paranoid of running into them. I can recognize that my behavior is obsessive and masochistic, and I've deleted Instagram and told myself I'm not going to do this anymore, only to wake up the next day and re-download the app and do it again. My therapist has been trying to help, but I just cannot move past this. I'm stuck in this mental loop of self-loathing and self-pity, this crazy mix of extreme sadness and latent anger. I feel so incredibly low, worthless, used up, discarded, and suddenly so incredibly old. I know that comparison is the thief of joy. I know that I am objectively still young enough to move on. I know that social media is a highlight reel and their relationship may not be perfect. I know that this girl has done nothing wrong to me. I know that my ex deserves to find his dream girl, but none of this knowledge helps soften the fact that I thought by this time, this year, I would be pregnant with the love of my life, and instead, I'm alone and he's found someone better. Please, if you've ever experienced something similar, share your words of wisdom or commiserate with me. I don't know. I just feel so worthless and alone. Damn, y'all. I feel like this is another one that I might be underqualified for just because I'm a man. Like, I think this stuff is so much harder to grapple with as a woman because of all the beauty standards and all the factors that go into comparing yourself to other women in this society, because like women are truly taught to pit themselves against other women. Honestly, guys, I kind of went through something somewhat similar to this. And the answer for at least myself was I slowly realized I didn't have enough self-respect for me and understand my value. What I went through wasn't easy by any means, but I just feel like being a woman, it's so much harder. Like, especially the like looking at the Instagram and comparing yourself to the other girl. That's not something I did. The situation I'm thinking of, I saw her boyfriend and not once did I pit myself against him. The advice that I took and that helped me, you kind of got to get to a point, at least I had to get to a point where I was like, fuck her, her loss. I don't know anything about this guy, but I'm definitely fucking better than him. That could be completely wrong. Like, you know, but it was just like a maybe slightly delusional self-confidence, knowing that like I'm a pretty fucking sick person. Even if that doesn't manifest through looks or through brains, like you got to kind of like know your value and hold yourself in high esteem in your head. Honestly, even if that's a little delusional, I think that leads to a little bit happier of a life. But once again, I hate that tip for a woman because it's just different. I think what I went through would have been 20 times harder if I was a woman. Delulu is the Salulu. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. And I think too, this guy doesn't sound like a particularly amazing dude. And like the one thing that I realized too early on, chat, is that I used to fall in love with people for the wrong reasons. Now I try to fall in love with somebody who treats me really well and cares about me. I'm not blaming OP, but I read this and I was like, don't get me wrong, these like get you through the door. Charming, goofy, like his aspects of his personality should get him through the door, but you should fall in love with like how that person treats you, how that person is as a human being. And like, I'm just not getting that there. I think there's a little bit of like a self-discovery journey that OP does need to go through here. I also think like a phone cleanse would be so good for her. Literally get the fuck rid of that phone. I am a big fan of like, you can't get over something or someone if you see it every day. Honestly, I think she needs to go out, find some girlfriends to make plans with and have some experiences of her own, establish self-love now before she spirals completely out of control over this breakup. Yeah, I kind of agree. Go out with your girlies, get drunk, cry it out, bro. I will be the first to admit, I did not thug it out when I was going through that shit. I fucking cried it out. Like, you got to take like 8 steps back before you can start taking steps forward. It's different for guys and girls. I really do want to acknowledge that, but I think that is the right answer, at least to me. I'm also willing to be like, I could be fucking so wrong here. Don't have a vagine, don't have those societal pressures on me. So like, it's hard for me to give advice on a perspective that is very different depending on the gender. Update January 23rd, 2020, posted almost 3 months from the original post. It's been about 3 months since I posted about my struggle to move past my 7-year relationship with my ex-fiancé. While I cringe when I think about the pathetic state I was in when I wrote that post, sobbing alone in that conference room, I was stunned by the empathetic, mature, and helpful advice I received from members of this subreddit. These past few months have been an absolute roller coaster, and I thought I owed this subreddit an update given how much solace and guidance you guys gave me during some of my darkest days. I don't think things would have worked out nearly as well if I had continued to bottle up those festering emotions and isolate myself. So I'm grateful for every single person who commented and messaged me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So here's what happened. The night I made that post, I finally blocked my ex-fiancé and his girlfriend on Instagram, as many of you suggested. I think actually verbalizing how obsessive and masochistic my behavior was, instead of keeping it all inside, and finally feeling validated in my emotional reactions after reading your sympathetic comments, instead of feeling alone and crazy, clicked something in my brain. I resolved to break out of that self-destructive loop, to stop torturing myself with their perfect pictures and reclaim a modicum of self-respect. It was an incredible relief to not be constantly following that impulse to view their new pictures and give myself some time to heal instead of picking at that scab every single day. Smart. Block and forget them, bro. That's the move. That weekend, I decided to reconnect with my family and friends and stop pretending that I was handling the breakup flawlessly. They were incredibly compassionate, though also shocked that I had been hiding my dark feelings so well. And it was like I'd instantly rebuilt my support network. I didn't realize how emotionally isolated I'd become until I was able to be honest and open with people in my life. I did continue to avoid talking to friends who were mutual friends with my ex because I didn't want to put anyone in an awkward position. But I was able to reconnect with a few of my other friends, and I took the initiative to finally make some fun plans. Getting out of the house to enjoy brunches, hikes, and shows with my friends over the past few months has been incredibly beneficial for my mental health. Just being in new environments and focusing on people other than my ex was therapeutic, even for someone who tends towards introversion like myself. Yo, shout out homegirl Sammy. She had the recommendation and by God was she right. Per your suggestions, I also decided to try out another therapist. I did okay, yeah, wait, that was actually something I didn't really touch on. Not saying that the therapist was bad, but I don't think it was working. Per your suggestions, I also decided to try out another therapist. I did find my original therapist somewhat helpful, but I also felt like he was not able to relate to some of the nuances in my issues, given that he was in his late 50s, so we had a bit of a generational gap. My new therapist is incredibly compatible with me and instantly understood the intricacies of my problems. She has helped considerably with addressing the roots of my insecurities and was able to validate and analyze my feelings in a much more intimate way. If you are struggling to find therapy useful, I highly recommend shopping around a bit for a more compatible therapist. therapy is certainly not one size fits all. Another popular suggestion from you guys was finding a job at another company, away from my ex-fiancé and his girlfriend. I didn't think that would be possible since the job market in my field is not great at the moment, but I began actively searching for other positions. I brushed up on my resume, filled out a couple of applications, and even surprisingly secured an interview. Then out of the blue, someone above me in my division quit to join a competitor. The senior managers were quite eager to fill his role quickly, so they decided to go with an internal hire. And after about 5 or 6 rounds of interviews, God, I absolutely dread interviews, I got the job. I'm so grateful for this promotion. Not only is the salary substantially better, but the hours are actually more consistent as well. It's crazy. I feel like the momentum of my life has shifted so quickly, and I finally have an office. It's tiny, but I really enjoy it. The only downside was this promotion also meant I would have to continue working at the same building, albeit a very large building, as my ex. And as I left work before Christmas, the moment I'd been dreading came. I ran into my ex as I was leaving the office. We exchanged a few pleasantries and he complimented my new haircut. I thanked him, wished him well, and said I had to hurry to catch the next train. I wish I could say I felt cool and collected, but I was so nervous to see him again for the first time in like 6 months that I was almost shaking. On the commute home, I calmed down and actually thought, hey, that wasn't so bad. He looked good, but I didn't feel a rush of sadness or desire or anything. I mostly just felt awkward, like we'd become strangers again. I didn't feel that familiar impulse to stalk his Instagram and actually felt happy to see he was doing okay since I'd cared for him for so many years. I felt like at last I was really moving forward. The next day, I woke up to a dozen messages from my ex-fiancé. They started at around 2 a.m. and were slightly incoherent in parts, so I'm guessing he was a bit drunk when he sent them. They were all long walls of text, which surprised me because he's not typically big on verbalizing his emotions. He wrote that he hadn't been able to stop thinking about me since we ran into each other outside the office, that he was sad that we weren't friends anymore because I still felt like his best friend, and that he regretted how everything went down. He said he questioned if he'd made a huge mistake in a moment of weakness and fucked his whole life up, and that he couldn't help but regret it at all when he saw me. Okay, so like, you don't want to still be friends with her. You're fucking backsliding, bro. Oh, how the turntables. He apparently noticed that I'd blocked him on Instagram, which I found funny given how intensely I'd been stalking his Instagram, and said that made him really sad. I gathered from his messages that he'd likely broken up with the woman I'd seen on his Instagram because he said that he felt like he had been searching for some ideal woman who didn't exist, and that he wanted to reignite our spark after failing to find some spark with other people. I'm not gonna lie, it was shocking to read his text, and I was trembling and struggling to process a lot of it at first. Part of me wanted impulsively to give him another chance, but after taking a day to mull over his words, I ended up feeling like he was less sorry that he lost our relationship and more sorry that the greener pastures he sought weren't quite as green as he'd imagined. Hell yeah, OP. Good conclusion. That's fucking growth right there, chat. I tried to respond kindly but firmly, saying that I really treasured and appreciated our relationship, but that I felt like I could no longer trust him to the same degree I once did, and that I felt like it would be confusing and painful for us to become friends in the near future. I told him how hurt I felt when he blindsided me after promising that nothing was wrong, and how I struggled for a long time to figure out what was missing in our relationship, but ultimately felt that as long as he thought the missing part was so crucial that he wanted to leave after all those years together, then we probably aren't meant to be together. I wished him the best. He didn't respond to my messages. I was a bit shaken by the whole thing, but I proceeded to enjoy my holiday break with my family and even elected to go to my friend's New Year's Eve party, which I was considering skipping. Well, I'm super glad I didn't skip the party because I ended up meeting a wonderful man there. He's funny, intelligent, cute, interesting, compassionate, and is eager to settle down and have kids after also somewhat recently exiting a long-term relationship. We've gone on 3 dates so far, and at the risk of sounding too enthusiastic, they've been the best dates of my life. We want to take it slow since we were both in long-term relationships a year ago, but we've been stunned by how compatible our personalities and interests and goals are, and frankly, we're also both quite keen to start a family as soon as possible. So while I'm trying not to be overly confident in this relationship, I'm also super excited to see where it goes. In conclusion, thanks in large part to the advice I received 3 months ago in this subreddit, I've emerged from a very dark place and I'm now cautiously optimistic about my future for the first time in a long time. Okay, all right. Maybe I'm wrong for this, but 6 months after a 7-year relationship that hurt you as bad as it did? Well, maybe it's been longer than that, huh? 5 months ago here, and then like 3 months here. So technically it's been 8 months. It's a little bit better, but it's not much better. I think she definitely sounds much more healed, but I think time for yourself is such a great thing. I mean, good for her for finding something new. Don't get me wrong, but nothing heals better than time. And I think the more time, the better. That being said, hopefully it's as good as she says. And this man is a good one. Coworker shares private information about me in a meeting. Posted to r/Ratschlag. And I think that's because posts were translated from German to English. Originally posted on September 20th, 2024. Hey everyone, I, female 27, really need your advice on how to handle this situation. I work an office job and next to me sits the executive assistant, female 61. We don't get along well because she treats me like her daughter. I notice it every time it happens and ask her to stop, but she doesn't. Today we were in a tense meeting discussing a sensitive topic for the company. The atmosphere was already strained among the 8 participants. At some point, our boss suggested taking a break or calling it a day. I agreed that ending the meeting might be a better option. The assistant then looked at me weirdly and in a very aggressive tone said, "Well, you sure know a lot about terminations." There was a brief and awkward silence before she immediately added, "Because she had an abortion." That is unfucking believable. Listen, y'all, I know she's 60 and OP's like 27, but like if OP just little right hand, I don't think I'd blame her, bro. That is so fucking far out of line. How did she even know that? That's insane. I was completely stunned and had no idea how to react. My colleagues were just as shocked. I just wished everyone a nice weekend, left the room, and went home early. It's true that I had an abortion this year, but I have no idea how she found out. Only 2 people in my life know about it, and she doesn't know either of them. Regardless, I find it absolutely unacceptable to bring something like that up, especially in a professional setting, whether it's relevant to the discussion or not. Now I'm wondering what steps I can take. We don't have a workers' council. Our HR representative is based at another location and is currently on extended sick leave. Our boss sees these kinds of conflicts as personal issues that should be resolved between the individuals involved. What kind of dog shit company do you work at where an HR representative is gone and like not replaced? I don't know, to me in like a big company, an HR representative is really fucking important. Also, dog shit boss. I plan to confront the assistant on Monday. Could there be legal consequences for her? Or do I just have to accept this and move on? I'd really like to appreciate any advice. Thanks in advance. I kind of want to look at the comments of this one, guys, because I actually don't know legally. Oh, it's in German. I forgot about that, chat. I mean, if it's not illegal, it should be illegal, you know? Like, there definitely should be consequences here. Also, my main concern here is how the hell did she have that information? Because, like, I've never had to get an abortion, obviously, because I'm a stupid man. But also, I've never been with a girl while she had to do it. And if that were the case, I would not be running around telling other people. I'd keep that pretty much to myself. Like, it's not something you have to be ashamed of, but it's definitely something that, like, maybe you keep on the DL just because it's a sensitive topic. Like, that's not something she just brings up at a company party. Is there anything legal against the company? Because like a company that doesn't have systems in place to like punish an individual that says something like that should absolutely have those things set up, right? Ooh, I bet that lady knows a person at the abortion clinic. That's how she knew. That would be crazy shit. Wouldn't that be against HIPAA? Wait, do they have HIPAA in Germany? Chat, I genuinely don't fucking know. I wouldn't even know what to do in this situation, chat. Get fired for throwing hands? Like... Don't listen to me. I'm probably not the person to listen to, but like also that shit would not have flown if that was me. Like I wouldn't have said I gotta go and then left the office. Like my coworkers would have been pulling me off of her. Like that's insane. If your boss hears that someone said that shit and they're not infuriated by that, you need to get a new job. Update, same post, September 26th, 2024, about 6 days after the original post. On Monday, I had a meeting with a lawyer and it was definitely worth it. During the meeting with the lawyer, my boss called me and asked me to come to the office for a clarifying conversation. After discussing with my lawyer, I went to the office to have the conversation. The assistant greeted me in tears and insisted that it wasn't meant like that. The fuck do you mean it wasn't meant like that? I guess we're getting the English translation from German, but that would be an insane misunderstanding if it wasn't meant like that. I took my favorite colleague with me as a witness/support and we entered the meeting. Given the sensitive nature of the topic, I asked for minutes to be taken, which everyone agreed to. In the conversation, my boss explained that such behavior between colleagues would not be tolerated, and the assistant had to apologize and promise that it wouldn't happen again. I then asked what consequences would follow, to which he seemed confused and asked if I wanted consequences since an apology was given. Who the fuck made this guy the boss? Oh, well, she said she was sorry because she was forced to do so. Isn't that enough? Fucking no. Naturally, I demanded consequences for the assistant and clarification about the data leak. I also told the boss that it was outrageous that he was asking if I wanted consequences instead of implementing them himself, especially when it comes to something as sensitive as spreading private information. He became a bit grumpy, but explained that it wasn't a data leak and that he had just slipped up. Wait, the boss is the one who told the assistant that OP got an abortion? When I asked where he got this information from, he bluntly admitted that he learned about it through his daughter-in-law. He even followed up with, but you couldn't even tell you had the procedure. Fucking what? What does that have to do with anything? Also, does he know how abortions work? I seriously thought I was going to flip out in that room, but fortunately I managed to stay composed. I asked for confirmation of his statement to make sure everything was understood correctly, and then had everyone sign the protocol. I got up, wished everyone a nice day, and informed him that my lawyer would be contacting him and we'd go from there. One of the 6 colleagues who was in the meeting on Friday approached me afterwards, apologized for not saying anything in the moment, and wished me luck, strength, and that someone would react better than he did if something like this happened again. I really appreciated that. 3 days later, here's where we stand. The assistant received her 3rd warning. I don't know where the first 2 came from. Today, I received confirmation that she has to leave the company. I think my boss would have preferred not to make this decision, but since the situation spread very quickly through the office grapevine, it seems to have influenced his decision. I mean, what about this fucking boss? Like, he's clearly a fucking numbnut too. Also, I still am just not understanding how he even got this information. You know what I'm saying? Like, is OP like best friends with his daughter-in-law? Like, yeah, the assistant fucked up, but like, so did the boss. As for the clinic, the first contact was made through my lawyer. I didn't personally call or inform the data protection officer. The lawyer took care of that. The lady at the clinic no longer works there as the lead doctor seemed to be aware of the risks. He apologized both over the phone and in writing, and I'll be receiving a nice compensation. It wasn't explained, but I think the boss's daughter-in-law worked at the clinic. And with my employer, we were able to agree on a very nice severance package, and the termination of my employment is happening soon. These are all nice solutions, but there are still civil and criminal proceedings ongoing, which I can't discuss right now. The lawyer is motivated to bring further consequences, especially regarding GDPR violations. Oh, it's just Sarby looking up some corporate terms that he doesn't understand because he makes silly little YouTube videos. GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation, a law that protects personal data in the European Union. Okay, well then that wasn't even me just being stupid, not corporate. That was me not knowing anything about Europe because I live in America, which honestly sucks to live in right now. All I can say is don't tolerate this kind of treatment. Last Friday, I was completely overwhelmed and unsure how to handle it, but I received so much support and perspective, especially here on Reddit, that I was able to navigate the situation and seek help. All right, so TLDR, fat WWubby, OP might be able to get some Sue money rocking and rolling. I mean, that's just so yikes, man. I don't fuck with that. What a series of awful fucking people. I have to give OP credit because she was way more composed than I ever would have been, chat. I would have berated the boss. I would have thrown hands on this old lady. Like, that's fucking so wild. Props to OP. I hate the ring my fiance proposed with, and I don't know what to do. We have a female 26 OP, a male 27 fiance, originally posted April 13th, 2015. A wonderful thing happened this past weekend, which is that my boyfriend of 5 years proposed to me. It was extremely romantic, and I couldn't have planned something better myself. I'm over the moon right now, except for one thing. My ring. When my fiance and I first started to talk seriously about getting engaged, I told him that we could choose a ring together, or he could ask me questions about my preferences and look through my existing jewelry to get an idea of what styles of rings I like. He wanted it to all be a surprise, so he opted for the latter. I was a bit nervous because I can be picky when it comes to jewelry, but I trusted that he would have enough resources and knowledge to make a wonderful choice. The only guidelines I gave him were nothing pink, no blue sapphires, and no diamonds. As it turns out, I hate the ring. Not just it's not really my style, but it'll grow on me way, but in a, wow, this is ugly and I would never wear it way. I feel absolutely awful for thinking this, but I can't help it. My issues with it. 1, it's huge and gaudy, like the sort of rings you see old women wearing. 2, it's in the shape of a heart. I dislike heart-shaped jewelry, which is why I never owned any until now. 3, it's amber. I'm a fan of light/honey colored amber, but this is way too dark. It's also extremely impractical to have amber be worn as an everyday ring. It's going to become scratched and dull very, very quickly. I just don't understand why in the world he picked this ring out for me. It's not my style at all, and it's clear he didn't do any research. If he had, he would have known amber was a poor choice. I'm actually rather hurt by his choice because to me, it shows a lack of care on his part. The worst part of it all is that I have no clue how to broach the subject with him. He and I share everything with each other and have no secrets. So it's doubly hard on me to not only dislike the ring, but to also not be talking to him about this problem like we do with everything else. How can I bring this up without hurting him? I want him to know I love him deeply and that I'm so happy to be engaged, but the ring needs to be changed. I'm freaking out and need advice badly. Thank you. So OP added an edit with the picture of the ring. That is the ugliest fucking thing I've ever seen, bro. Y'all, I'm a man and I know that shit is ugly. Like, that's how you know this is bad. Oh my fucking God, that is brutal. Oh, honey, that is, wow. That is a ring for sure. The way she was describing it was ugly, but like seeing it was a whole nother experience. The way that I would go about this is OP definitely needs to broach the conversation, especially with that ugly of a ring. And the way that she can do it is just by framing it correctly and trying to set this up so that nobody's feelings get hurt too bad and you're approaching it like you guys are on a team. Like, I would go up to him and be like, hey bro, I might seem like an asshole here. I want you to know I'm so glad to be engaged to you. I can't wait to be married. This has literally been something I've been waiting for my entire life, and I will take some blame for this. I think that's actually something that like can help with like giving people feedback, is taking a little bit of blame on something so that they don't feel like everything is all their fault. Make sure to specify that, like, hey, I'll take a little blame on this. The ring that you got me, I'm not a huge fan of. Don't be overly harsh with it. Be like, hey, I can't go around showing people this ring is my engagement ring. I don't like it. Could we please go somewhere and choose a ring that I'll be happy with? And be like, I feel like you care about me and my feelings in general, and especially around a ring that symbolizes our marriage. I think you'd want me to get one that I'm happy with and that I'm excited to show off. Would you agree? Like, approach it as a team thing. Don't turn it into, you fucking moron, you got me the ugliest ring in the world. How are you so stupid? Does he maybe deserve that? But that's a whole topic for another conversation. We're trying to save this engagement. God, let's just look at it one more time, chat. This has been sitting in front of me. I can't fucking believe how ugly this thing is. Yeah, I don't know what man needs to hear this, but please don't get a ring like this when you're getting engaged. What if it wasn't an engagement ring? I feel like with some styles, you could maybe pull it off, but just by itself, jump scare, trigger warning, just with your hand and no other context, that's pretty fucking brutal. Somebody needs to buy this ring and try to style it with something for me to be able to acceptably be like, yeah, this ring is something that somebody could maybe justify wearing. I would actually break up over this. The thought crossed my mind of like, he clearly didn't listen to OP. The two options that OP gave him were, I told him that we could choose a ring together, or he could ask me questions about my preferences and look through my existing jewelry. Chat, if he was that far off, bro did not listen. Bro did not take into consideration anything that you wanted with that ring. I'm willing to accept that it's a one-off fluky coincidence and this guy is actually great based off of what OP has said in this story, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't kind of think, like when I get my wife a ring, I'm sure as shit gonna make sure that she loves that thing. Me and her best friend, we're gonna be doing some insane Mission Impossible type shit to figure out the best ring for my wife. The ring that my wife will love just as much as she loves the idea of me proposing to her. Like, that's what I think every man should do when it comes to the ring that they're gonna propose with. I just feel like bro didn't do that. And that might be, just maybe, this much of a red flag. Okay, some relevant comments. Commenter, if you're going to spend the rest of your life with this man, you'll need to get comfortable with awkward conversations. Just frame it up as you're worried about the stone's ability to wear for the rest of your life, and you want something you can wear every day. Go together and pick out a new one. I'm sure he tried. OOP responded, "We have had many, many awkward conversations before, believe me. This is a whole different ballpark because of the extremely sensitive subject matter. Even if I frame it in terms of why it's simply impractical, it still doesn't solve my hurt feelings or confusion of his choice." I genuinely disagree with this comment. Don't get me wrong, I think OP needs to frame it well and to not make this a situation where feelings get incredibly hurt, but feelings do need to get hurt right now. Because I think OP does need to communicate, like, bro, you kind of fucked this up. Especially if you don't want to go into your marriage with the precedence that like shit like this can fly. I think you need to tell him, like, hey man, do it in a nice way. You did not choose well. Like, this is an ugly ass ring that I just refused to wear. As softly as you can communicate that, he needs to know that he fucked up. We can't let dudes be running around thinking like, oh, I only kind of messed up. Like, no, dude, you kind of fucking shit the bed on this. We all saw that ring, bro. You pulled your pants down and shit in public with this one. To a deleted comment, OOP said, "Why is it wrong to be hurt? He completely ignored my tastes and preferences on a ring that I'm intended to wear for the rest of my life. It honestly feels like he pulled a ring out of a hat and thought, I guess this is it. When I get him a gift for his car, I do tons of research, ask his friends for suggestions, etc. He obviously didn't put the same thought into this gift to me, and that hurts." OOP replying to someone saying it's hard for men to pick rings. Okay, it's not a fucking walk in the park, but it's not fucking rocket science. I literally offered to pick it out with him. He didn't have to make the choice alone in the first place. Even with his choice to make it a surprise, he wasn't clueless. He knew what things I didn't like, and he knew what I did like by looking through my jewelry collection. He could have talked with my mom or sister to get their opinions on what styles I'd like. He didn't do the research though, and that's why I'm sort of hurt. It seems thoughtless. I mean, I think it is a little thoughtless. Update April 14th, 2015, the next day. After he arrived home last night and we had dinner, we got onto the couch to cuddle. I knew it was the best time to talk about it, so I started off by telling him how ecstatic I am to be married to him and how much I loved the proposal. I then launched into my main point and said, "I'm so sorry to do this, but we're going to have to pick a different ring. The amber is going to get destroyed in no time, and the ring is just too big for my hand. I kept banging it into everything today as is. It's just an impractical choice in the long run." He immediately looked like he was about to cry, which made me feel terrible. He put his head down and said, "You don't like it, just be honest." I admitted that the impracticality of the ring was a very real issue, but that I also didn't like it. I said, "I'm kind of confused why you picked it, because it's nothing like the rest of my stuff, and it's absolutely massive." By this point, he was crying and said, "That's the point. I wanted something completely different. All your rings are so plain. I wanted the ring to stand out so everyone would see it and know I loved you." His response was basically, "That's the point. I wanted to completely ignore everything that you told me and just do what I wanted. I wanted the ring to stand out so everyone would see it and know I loved you." Is bro fucking whipping his dick out and peeing on his girlfriend to mark his territory? Is that what he's doing with this fucking ring? What the fuck is that? That ring is for her. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I had figured that this was his line of thinking. Others guessed as well. I told him that I understood where he was coming from and emphasized that I am so thrilled to be engaged, but that I want the ring to be something that I will like. After all, it will be on my finger for the rest of my life, and that the material needs to be durable in order to stand the test of time. I explained to him how delicate amber is, which he didn't know. He said he picked amber because he liked that there were things inside of it. That is like the most dude-esque response I've ever heard. I just liked it because there were things inside. I asked him if he had thought about what he wanted in a ring before he had bought it. When he said no, that he had just gone to the mall and picked one out, I started to cry. I hadn't planned on crying or telling him I was hurt, but knowing that he didn't research anything about rings or really think about it just really got to me. I tried to explain my hurt feelings as eloquently as possible, but I could tell he felt horrible for it. He said that the whole process really freaked him out and that he regretted not having me pick the ring with him. When it came time to pick, he was overwhelmed by ring choices and went for the most romantic thing he saw. We both cried a lot, needless to say. The talk was very productive though, and it all ended up working out fine. Thankfully, he's the best guy I could ever ask for, just with really crappy taste in jewelry, which he now recognizes. so he wants us to pick a new ring together this weekend. Everything other than this ring choice is going well, and this man is a green flag, but something about his responses, I just don't fuck with it. It's not the right mindset around like how you should go about buying a ring for somebody. I feel like buying a ring for somebody that they're gonna wear for the rest of their life is like hey, let's make sure that you really fucking like this. I met my husband that I divorced 3 years ago. Original post, February 28th, 2025. I, 35 male, divorced my husband, 36 male, 3 years ago. And God, I miss him. I asked for a divorce for a few reasons, most of which being that his depression got exponentially worse day after day, and he refused to seek treatment. Sometimes he wouldn't even go into work and ended up getting fired from his job. I stayed with him for so fucking long, praying that one day he would start trying to get better. It was all I ever wanted, but that day didn't come. I sobbed the entire time signing those papers, and when I handed them to him and asked for a divorce, he gave me the emptiest, deadest look and signed them without a word. My heart felt like it had been shattered with a hammer. Anger and sadness and fear tied together in the world's tightest, ugliest knot and set in deep into my chest. I mean, how do we feel about that, chat? If the person doesn't want to seek help for their mental health to the point where it's affecting you too, I kind of see it, but like, he did abandon him. Nah, girl, he can't love you if he doesn't love himself. That's kind of how I feel too. If he doesn't overcome this hurdle, like there's no way that OP is receiving the treatment and love that OP deserves. So we're all agreeing OP should leave because that's not a good situation for OP. I put on a brave face for my friends, tried to frame it as shackles coming off and a new beginning, but it was a lie. It just hurt and it keeps hurting and it will never stop hurting. He was my soulmate. I'll never love anyone like I loved him. He used to be so sweet and loving, so passionate and happy, and every other wonderful thing a man could want from another. They say each day gets easier, but it isn't for me. It's been 3 years and I'm still reaching over to the other side of the bed in the morning to pull him close. And it always stings when my hands touch fabric and not his skin. It's been 3 years and I'm still expecting to see his car in the driveway when I get home from work. It's been 3 years and my heart isn't any less broken than the day he left. I've been stalking his socials, I admit. He's been getting back to the gym, started meds, and I see him smiling so genuinely in these photos. He looks so incredible. Maybe if I had just waited, he would have changed his mind and went to a doctor like he is now. Or was it me that held him down? Was I making it worse? I hope not. I want to go over to his place and just fall into his arms and beg him to take me back. Maybe he's wishing the same thing about me. If there's even a chance I could have my boy back, I feel like I should try. I'll never know otherwise. So a couple of clarification points here. One, I am a homosexual man. My husband is a homosexual man. I am not a woman. Yes, I know I'm effeminate and kind of emotional. Get creative. Two, my husband was a binge drinker. He refused treatment no matter how much I begged. We got antidepressants, but he wouldn't take them. I know he started meds now because he's posting about them and his 2-year sober chip that he got last month. 3, I never stopped loving him. I never loved him any less. Near the end of our marriage, I started drinking to cope. The second I realized I realized he was dragging me down with him and I couldn't help him anymore. I didn't dip the second it got hard. Many of you are being kind of rude. I'll accept that I wasn't the perfect husband. Nobody is. But claims that I never loved him are just wrong and make me feel sick to my stomach. Okay, yeah, knowing that too, I think it was totally the right move for OP to get out of that. Edit 2, no, I am not the catalyst for this. His depression started when his younger brother died terribly and unexpectedly. It's not because he just hated me so much. We were childhood sweethearts and had been together for years when this happened. I want to know what frame OP left the relationship in. Does OP's ex-husband know that OP still loves him? He just left because he couldn't get dragged down with him. Like, did they sign the divorce papers and he said like, hey, I still love you. I still want to be with you. Like, let me know if you ever dig yourself out of this hole. I think if that's the precedence that he set, he should wait for the husband to reach out. And I also think that's just healthier for that husband to know, hey, this is the reason why I'm leaving you. It's not because I don't love you anymore. It's because this destructive behavior is taking me with you. Versus like, if he didn't communicate that, OP's husband could be thinking, oh, OP doesn't love me anymore. He left me. Like, even though I've changed, there's no way that this could happen. Cause like, y'all, I kind of want the happy ending here. I want OP and the husband and now kiss, you know, like that's what I want here. years. As long as the husband is truly healing and as long as OP isn't lying to us and wasn't the catalyst for the ex-husband's depression. All those things assumed, in order for them to get back together, I actually think it is better for OP to reach out to the husband. But also, I almost wonder if 3 years is too short. Like, I think you maybe have to give this another year because I feel like, what, 3 years? That's still pretty fresh. On a long journey healing from a divorce, alcohol addiction, and depression, like, in the grand scheme of things, 3 years isn't that long. But I can see y'all in the chat being like, nah, he should reach out. We want the happy ending. They advise against dating the first year of sobriety, but they say that amends can be made, and I think both parties can. Is it better for OP's ex-husband to make those amends when he feels comfortable and that he's in the right place to do so? Would OP reaching out to him be almost like forcing that along? Because like maybe he doesn't think that he's in the right place to make amends. I don't see anything wrong with sending a message and leaving it at that with no pressure. I mean, that's also an option. Just like, hey, I saw your Instagram. It looks like you're doing well. I'm super happy for you. Like something like that. I think my final answer is I would recommend he waits another year, if not even a little bit more, before he reaches out. I still think 3 years is fresh and his real journey hasn't started since like 2 years. So like, I think OP needs to have a little bit of patience here, but with the mindset of like, if he doesn't reach out to me eventually, I will reach out to him eventually. Relevant comments. Someone commented, sometimes people just cannot progress until they hit rock bottom, and maybe you leaving was that for him. It doesn't necessarily mean you held him down. He just couldn't find the desire and motivation to progress while you were holding him. Don't beat yourself up. It wasn't your fault he was sick and didn't want to ask for help. In the end, we all need to want that help. Without it, all other people's efforts are worthless. In the end, if you ended amicably, you can always hit him up and ask how he feels. Maybe he'll ignore you, maybe not, but you'll know you've tried. And stop stalking him. That is keeping you from healing. That's a really good point. I fucking agree with that. OOP, thank you. I needed to hear a lot of this. Maybe I'll call him just to see how he's doing. He doesn't hate me. I know that much. I'd like to see him regardless. I think a call might be a little bit of a blind side. Like maybe a text first. I think that's what I fuck with. Another comment, unless he's remarried, no harm in reaching out to say hello and seeing where the land lies. Reopen the channels, see what's what. OOP, he's not remarried. He had some photos with this one guy for a while, but I haven't seen any photos with him for a little over a year. I think he's single now. Hope he is. Update 1, March 2nd, 2025. Well, with Reddit's advice, I did it. A few days ago, I called my 35 male, ex-husband, 36 male, whom I divorced after 6 years when he refused to seek treatment for his depression. I called him later in the evening. It was the first time we'd spoken since a bit of trouble he'd had while he was still drinking 2.5 years ago. He picked up on the second ring. Our conversation was a little stilted at first, as to be expected, but he said he was really glad to hear from me. We ended up meeting up for coffee yesterday, as so many of you suggested. I'll admit, it was kind of hard to see him, but in a good way. He looked so much better than the last time I had seen him, but he looked exactly like the man I'd married. He had put off a ton of weight. He gained like 75-ish pounds during his struggle with depression, and before some dick says so, I didn't leave him because of his weight gain. He looked way healthier and very put together. I'll just say it, he looked incredibly hot. What made it hard was that I couldn't kiss him hello like I used to. But God, the way his eyes lit up when he saw me, I barely needed to. We got our coffee and sat, and he updated me a little on his life in the last 3 years. What really turned his life around was in part the divorce, but more so a DUI. Nobody was hurt. He was caught a few blocks from his apartment. He's since gone to rehab and AA, gotten his license back, and had to use a breathalyzer whenever he started his car for a while. He hasn't had a drop of alcohol since, and I told him I was so fucking proud of him. He also started antidepressants and made a point of telling me that they're not SSRIs, but when I asked what that meant, he got embarrassed and told me never mind. Chad, I think he's trying to tell him that like he's ready for sex. Don't SSRIs like make your libido fucked up or like you can't come or something like that? Yes? Okay. All right. So the ex-husband's like, hell yeah. Let's go round 2, baby. In more ways than one. If you know what I'm saying. Bottom line is they've been helping him. He's back to being a gym rat and he's almost completely turned his life around. This was around the point I started tearing up. It just felt so good knowing he was okay. Better than okay. He was good. I also apologized to him for not sticking by him. He cut me off and said I had nothing to apologize for. He was a wreck and I was being dragged down with him. That also felt good to hear. I apologized for not contacting him much during the last 3 years. That apology he accepted. He was dating someone for a few months too. He broke up with him once he tried to get him to drink on New Year's. He seemed dismissive of the guy. Guess it wasn't too serious. We got up and went on a walk after a few hours, and I think we both realized it felt like a first date. I had to stop myself from trying to hold his hand at a few points, I'll admit. We ended up sitting on a bench in a nearby park, and I confessed. I told him I missed him more than anything, how I never stopped loving him, and how if he wanted to, I'd love to try again from the beginning this time. We'd go to couples therapy, keep our heads above the water, and take it slow. He was quiet for a minute before he told me something. He said he was doing better now, but there may be a time where he sunk low again. Depression isn't easily cured, and he was far from cured. He still had bad days, but he said there would be one difference. He promised he would never stop trying to improve. He was never going to give up like he did before and refused to neglect me like he used to. If I was willing to accept that truth, he was willing to try again. I agreed, and he pulled me into an embrace and snuck a kiss to my temple. You know when it's the first warm day of spring after a cold, harsh winter, and the soft breeze and basking sun hit your skin at the same time? It felt something like that, to the 1,000th degree. After a while, he walked me back to my car and squeezed my hand goodbye, and the second I got inside, I started sobbing like a baby. Happy tears, though. All right, I know we were saying he shouldn't reach out, but like, kind of glad he did. I'm currently sitting in bed, kicking my feet like a teenage girl, texting him back and forth to schedule an actual date. He said he'd plan everything and try his best to make up for the birthdays and anniversaries he missed. He said it would knock my socks off. What a dork. I love being in love. Not gonna lie, this is gonna be a bit hard to explain to my friends and family. Not looking forward to those conversations, but right now I don't care. My man loves me. Thank you to everyone who had kind words to say and all the people that messaged me with sympathy and advice. I hope we all find happiness and love if we want it. I never would have made the leap if y'all hadn't encouraged me. Best of luck to all of you, and sorry for the overly flowery language. Edit 1, we scheduled a date for tomorrow evening. I'll let people know how it went 2 days from now in my final, unless something big happens, update. Edit 2, at his place presently. Shame me not, Reddit. Hey bro, get your nut. I fucking respect it. Okay, this is somebody saying, girl, he's telling you his dick still works. Get a clue. OOP, I never claimed to be a smart man. Back when he was still courting me, he said he thought I was handsome to my face, and I was just like, aw, thanks, man. We didn't get together for another year. I don't even know how I got to this point, LOL. Okay, it's just people clarifying the SSRI comment. Okay, I mean, at the end, we did not recommend he reach out, which honestly, I still stand by a little bit. But that being said, I'm glad he didn't, because now we get a happy story. Final update, March 6th, 2025. My ex-husband and I recently reconnected. He was the one taking me out and promised that it would, in his words, knock my socks off to make up for his neglect of me. He sure as hell delivered. A little backstory. We've been together since we were 15 and 16 respectively, and have never moved out of our hometown. This year would have been our 20th anniversary of getting together, not marriage. We were dating secretly for about 5 years before our parents caught us one day during summer break. The fallout from finding out their son was gay actually made his parents split. His dad wanted to send him away to conversion therapy. He's seen his father maybe once per year on average, and every time he's incredibly cold towards me. Would never refer to me as his son-in-law, only my husband's pal. I wonder why. Anyway, not what you're here to read. I'll get on with the lore. He picked me up from the house and wouldn't tell me where we were going, but told me to dress warmly. He ended up taking me to the place where we met, a rundown ice skating rink in our town. He used to do hockey, and I spent some time trying to learn figure skating until people started beating me up for it. Both sports would practice at the same time, and I remember barely being able to keep my eyes off him. We went skating. I tried to pull off a few of the moves I remembered. He only had to catch me from falling on my ass once or twice, and I won't complain about an attractive man that I love hooking his arm around my waist. And we spent an hour or so there until our feet hurt. At one point, I said that my face was getting cold, so he skated around in front of me and placed his gloved hands on my cheeks to warm me up. I just about burned a hole in the ice from how hard I was blushing, I swear to God. He wasn't done then. We left and went to dinner, specifically the restaurant where we had our first date. It's a cheap, hole-in-the-wall place, seeing as we were poor teenagers when we first met. We chatted and ate food that probably took 5 years off of our lives. He was an incorrigible flirt and even held my hand underneath the table like he did all those years ago. I know I said I never stopped loving him, and I stand by that, but I think I somehow fell in love with him 1,000 times over again during that meal. At the end of dinner, he asked if I had energy for one more simple thing, to which I agreed. He took me a while out of town to a dark Sky Zone park, specifically the one where he proposed to me 10 years ago. He set out a blanket to sit on and another to cuddle under, and we went stargazing all bundled up together. You never know how much you miss the sound of someone's heartbeat until you haven't heard it for so long. We shared a bottle of sparkling grape juice in the plastic champagne flutes and dumb, giggly kisses. It felt so similar yet so different. He told me in a moment of quiet that he loved me, and oh God, it took everything I had not to cry. I barely hesitated before asking if he wanted to change venues. He seemed surprised, but eagerly accepted. I ended up at his place, as some of you may have seen from my edit on the second post yesterday. I wanted to take it slower than this, but it was so hard to. I was so starved of affection and hadn't been intimate with anyone for just about 6 years. I'm gonna keep what happened at his place between us, but all I'll say is that his medication was no issue and all of you should be jealous. I woke up in his bed this morning, reached over to him and pulled him close just like I used to. I haven't been this happy in a long time. We had a sleepy discussion and decided to get back together, but we're not using the term boyfriends. It just feels weird after all this time. He's my partner or my lover. He's mine. Good for them, chap. But now I feel so fucking single. When I read this dark sky zone park, I thought he was talking about one of those trampoline places. And I was like, you proposed at a trampoline place? But now I understand he took him to a park where they could see the sky. I get it. I mean, we love it. We love the happy ending, but by God, do I feel single as fuck right now.